Chapter 2599. This kid's strength has actually reached such a level. What should we do? I'm afraid we won't be a match for him, even if we join forces. I've decided to report this matter to the sect and let them deal with this kid. After witnessing Mo Qingyun's strength, the two of them made a decision after a short discussion. Immediately, the two of them fled separately, as they didn't want to continue fighting with Mo Qingyun. They must have felt that there was no point in continuing the fight, since they weren't a match for Mo Qingyun. I haven't even warmed up yet. Why are you leaving? Luo Yunyang grinned and rushed towards Lang Yin when he saw the two of them trying to escape. As Mo Qingyun rushed towards Lang Yin, he waved at Shanoayan and the others and said, "The few of you, help me stop Yin Xian. No matter what method you use, don't let him escape." Yes. Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's order, Shanoayan and the others rushed towards Yin Xian. While Shanoayan and the others chased after them, they quickly intercepted Yin Xian and engaged in a battle with him. Although Yin Xian was powerful, Shanoayan and the others could easily deal with him if they joined forces. Lang Yin, you've provoked me time and time again. Today, we'll settle this once and for all. Mo Qingyun arrived in front of Lang Yin and blocked his path. Then, he slashed at him with his sword. As Mo Qingyun swung his sword, an even more powerful aura erupted from his body. Then, an imposing nine-colored sword light blasted out from the nine-bowl divine sword. Mo Qingyun, don't push me too far. It won't do you any good if you force me into a corner. Lang Yan's face darkened when he saw Mo Qingyun's attack, and he roared furiously. He was a four-star faction's genius, yet he was being bullied by a galaxy-grade martialist. This feeling was really unbearable. Although Lang Yin was furious, he didn't dare get distracted. He immediately defended himself against Mo Qingyun's attack. Spectral wolf, phantom, tyrannical body. Driven by the smoke, his saint physique was activated, and his body turned into a phantom. Following that, the wolf smoke's movement speed increased by several times. Lang Yan's movement speed increased, and he easily dodged the streaks of sword radiance aimed at him. After dodging the sword radiance, Lang Yin turned into a blur and fled into the distance. Oof, trying to escape from me? You're too naive. Seeing Lang Yan's action, Mo Qingyun's lips curled into a mocking sneer. Then, Mo Qingyun formed a hand seal and pointed at the nine-bowl divine sword. Then, the nine-oxen divine sword emitted a green light and was thrown forward by Mo Qingyun. After throwing out the nine-oxen divine sword, Mo Qingyun's body jumped onto the nine-oxen divine sword. Shadowwalk's evasion world sword. Stepping on the nine-oxen divine sword, Mo Qingyun turned into a beam of light and chased after Lang Yin rapidly. Mo Qingyun's body flashed a few times, and he caught up with Lang Yin. His eyes flashed with mockery as he said, "Lang Yin, you can't escape from me. Be a good boy and fight with me." He's caught up. Hearing Mo Qingyun's voice, Lang Yin was so frightened that his body trembled and his face turned pale. He hadn't thought that Mo Qingyun could still catch up with him when he activated his saint physique. After a short moment of shock, Lang Yin didn't dare to hesitate. He immediately took out a bullhead jade pendant and said angrily, "Mo Qingyun, the enmity between us won't end here. The next time I see you, it'll be the day I kill you. There's no need to wait for the next time. We can end it today." Hearing Lang Yan's words, Mo Qingyun's face turned cold. He slashed at Lang Yin without hesitation. As Mo Qingyun swung his sword, streaks of sharp nine-color sword radiance shot toward Lang Yin rapidly. So powerful. Sensing the power of Mo Qingyun's sword, Lang Yin was scared out of his wits. He immediately crushed the bullhead jade pendant in his hand. Then Lang Yan's body started to dissipate, as if he was going to merge into the space. Pucci. When Lang Yan's body disappeared, a nine-color sword radiance hit him and cut off one of his arms. With one arm cut off, Lang Yan's body also disappeared. He escaped from Mo Qingyun's sight. Seeing this scene, Mo Qingyun's expression froze. He was a little surprised by this. He hadn't thought that Lang Yin would have Such a trump card. He had been careless this time. Mo Qingyun is so cruel. He cut off one of Lang Yan's arms. Seeing Lang Yan's miserable state, Yan Xian was shocked. He hurriedly took out a bullhead jade pendant. After taking out the bullhead jade pendant, Yan Xian crushed it without hesitation. Then, Yan Xian was enveloped by a force and disappeared in front of Shanhui Yin and the others. This guy ran really fast. Seeing Yan Xian run away, Mo Qingyun couldn't help but shake his head. He felt a little helpless. He didn't want to hurt Yan Xian on account of their past relationship. Unfortunately, Yan Xian was frightened by Lang Yan's pitiful fate. Forget it. Since these two guys have escaped, I should continue on my way. Seeing that Yan Xian and Lang Yan had escaped, Mo Qingyun sighed. He continued on with Shanhui Yin and the others. Mo Qingyun waved his hand and took out the blood cloud airship. It floated in front of them. Luo Jian, you control the airship. After taking out the blood cloud airship, Mo Qingyun instructed Luo Jian and enter the airship. After entering the airship, Mo Qingyun immediately immersed himself in cultivation and comprehended the first level of the nine-direction Godly Bull sword technique. During this time, he had almost comprehended the first level of the nine-direction Godly Bull sword technique. If he could find an opportunity, he would be able to fully comprehend the first level and light up a mark on the Godly Bull sword. Under Mo Qingyun's continuous refinement, the aura of the Godly Bull sword technique became sharper and sharper. Suddenly, a strange thought appeared in Mo Qingyun's mind. He thought to himself, this complete nine-direction Godly Ox sword technique doesn't seem like a sword technique, but more like a refining technique. With this thought in mind, Mo Qingyun threw himself into refining the nine-bull divine sword with a hint of doubt. Buzz! After an unknown period of time, the Godly Bull sword suddenly vibrated and produced a mysterious energy wave. One of the nine bull marks that was originally dim suddenly shone with a dazzling light. Seeing this, Mo Qingyun immediately became ecstatic. He became excited and said, there's finally a God art imprint that I've successfully activated. After calming himself down, Mo Qingyun poured a surge of saint power into the Godly Bull sword. He wanted to see what kind of power the first superpower of the Godly Bull sword had. Chapter 2600. Ignore Defense. A short while later, Mo Qingyun clearly understood the Nine Bulls Divine Sword's first ability. Under the support of this ability, no matter how strong the enemy was, or how good their defense was, the Nine Bulls Divine Sword's attack would be ignored. The Nine Bulls Divine Sword attack would ignore the enemy's defense and cause 100% damage. In other words, the more powerful Mo Qingyun's sword attack was, the more true damage it could cause. What a tyrannical ability! Knowing the power of ignore defense, Mo Qingyun was overjoyed and looked forward to it. Then, Mo Qingyun's figure flickered, entering the Fortune mainland. He wanted to look for Niu Wei to test the power of ignore defense to see if it was as he thought. Inside the Fortune mainland, greetings, master. Seeing that Mo Qingyun had come to find him, Niu Wei respectfully saluted. Mo Qingyun waved his hand indifferently at Niu Wei and the other salutes, saying, Niu Wei, I've just obtained a new ability. Help me test its power. Yes. Niu Wei responded, then asked, Master, what should I do? Hearing Niu Wei's question, Mo Qingyun began to instruct him. Push your strongest defense and try to take my sword attack head on. As Mo Qingyun spoke, he took out the Nine Bulls Divine Sword and poured holy force into it. Hearing Mo Qingyun's instructions, Niu Wei immediately used his ability to increase his defense. Soon, a white bone armor with a cold gleam appeared around Niu Wei's body. Slash! When Niu Wei was ready, Mo Qingyun brandished the Nine Bulls Divine Sword, slashing down at him. Because he wasn't clear about the power of his sword attack, Mo Qingyun did not use his full strength. The sword light flew out and soon pierced through Niu Wei's body, penetrating the bone armor. Seeing this situation, Niu Wei was immediately shocked. His face was filled with shock as he said, Master Sword actually ignored my bone armor's defense. While Niu Wei was still in shock, a shocking power blasted into his body. Being bombarded by this force, Niu Wei felt his vital energy and blood roil, and his face became pale. Fortunately, the power Mo Qingyun used was very weak, so he was not injured. Master, now that you've mastered this divine ability, you'll definitely be invincible when fighting with others in the future. Even so, Niu Wei was still scared out his wits and was even more in awe of Mo Qingyun. He knew very well that Mo Qingyun's use of this ability was definitely a nightmare for the enemy. In front of Mo Qingyun, his defense was useless. How could he fight against Mo Qingyun? It seems that the power of this divine ability is just as I thought. Seeing Niu Wei's performance, Mo Qingyun smiled in satisfaction and said to him, "Let's try again. I'll increase the power of this strike. Try using your ability to block it. See if your ability can block it." Yes. Hearing Mo Qingyun's order, Niu Wei immediately understood, and his expression became even more tense. While Niu Wei was nervous, he also had some expectations. He was very curious about the power of ignore defense. Immediately after, Niu Wei used a few more divine abilities to increase his defensive power. Seeing that Niu Wei was on guard, Mo Qingyun waved the nine-bull divine sword and slashed out a dual-colored sword ray. Bone Dragon breaks the galaxy. Seeing the dual-colored sword ray coming at him, Niu Wei immediately used his divine ability and blasted it. Under Niu Wei's attack, a terrifying surge of saint energy gathered in his palm. Then, the saint force turned into a bone dragon and collided with the dual-colored sword ray. The dual-colored sword ray blasted the bone dragon and immediately cut it in half. In the blink of an eye, it disappeared between heaven and earth. After destroying the bone dragon, the dual-colored sword ray's attack did not decrease and continued to bombard Niu Wei. So powerful! Seeing such a scene, Niu Wei's expression trembled and the shock in his eyes grew. He did not expect that his all-out attack would be instantly destroyed by the dual-colored sword ray. One must know that Mo Qingyun's attack did not even use 20% of his strength. With such a discovery, he finally realized how big the gap between him and Mo Qingyun was. While Niu Wei was still in shock, the dual-colored sword ray blasted into his body with a thunderous force. After being blasted by the dual-colored sword ray, Niu Wei was directly sent flying and suffered some minor injuries. Niu Wei stood up from the ground. The way he looked at Mo Qingyun changed greatly. He was secretly shocked. I can't believe that Master Strength has reached such a level in less than a month. After calming the injuries in his body, Niu Wei came to Mo Qingyun's side and said respectfully, "Master, what divine ability is this? Its power is so terrifying that it completely ignores all my defenses. This divine ability is called Defense Disregard. It allows my attacks to ignore any defenses of the enemy." Mo Qingyun didn't hide anything from Niu Wei. Instead, he gave a detailed explanation. In Mo Qingyun's opinion, Niu Wei was his right-hand man, so there was no need to hide anything from him. After listening to Mo Qingyun's explanation, Niu Wei nodded in understanding. However, the shock on his face intensified. It had to be said that Mo Qingyun's divine ability was really overbearing. After using Niu Wei's help to understand the might of the defense disregard, Mo Qingyun instructed Niu Wei, "You suffered some injuries just now. Go back and recuperate first." Yes. Niu Wei acknowledged Mo Qingyun's instructions and returned to the dragon vein. After Niu Wei returned to the dragon vein, Mo Qingyun did not stay any longer. Instead, he found a place to continue cultivating. His current cultivation base was only a step away from the celestial domain grade, so he had to make the best use of his time to break through. Immediately, Mo Qingyun found a place and immersed himself in cultivation. As Mo Qingyun started cultivating, he took out star stones with astonishing power. It was the dark sky swallowing gate. After taking out the star stones, Mo Qingyun used his divine ability to devour and refine the star stones. As the dark sky, swallowing gate, devoured them, waves of pure star power were extracted from the gate. In the following period of time, Mo Qingyun refined the star power bit by bit. As Mo Qingyun refined the star stones, his aura also increased slowly. However, this increase was relatively small. In the blink of an eye, 10 days passed. After 10 days of hurrying, Luo Jian controlled the blood cloud spaceship and arrived at the outermost region. Luo Jian controlled the spaceship and arrived there. Then, he sent a voice transmission to Mo Qingyun and reported their current itinerary. We have already arrived at the outermost region. After hearing Luo Jian's message, Mo Qingyun stopped cultivating. Then, Mo Qingyun released his spirit power and sensed his own cultivation base. I'm still at the peak galaxy grade. There is still a huge gap between the quasi-celestial domain grade. It seems like it will be too difficult to break through if I cultivate normally. Chapter 26:01. When he heard Luo Jian's report, Mo Qingyun's figure flickered as he entered the blood cloud flying ship. Standing at the bow of the blood cloud flying ship, Mo Qingyun scanned the area in front of him, trying to think of a way to leave the Nine Bulls' divine continent. He was different from Yin, Xian, and the others. The way he entered the Nine Bulls' divine continent was different, and the way he left was also different. Therefore, he couldn't crush the transmission jade token like in Xian and the others. Mo Qingyun pondered for a while, but he still couldn't figure out how to leave this place. All right, the Thousand Arms Azura should have a way. I can call him out and ask him. Thinking of the Thousand Arms Azura, Mo Qingyun didn't waste any time and summoned him out. This guy was in a hurry to enter the Heavenly Bull Inheritance Ground, so he must be very familiar with it. Before long, the Thousand Arms Azura was summoned out, and Mo Qingyun asked him, Thousand Arms Azura, do you know how to leave the Nine Bulls' divine continent? Master, this is also my first time entering the Nine Bulls' divine continent, so I don't know how to leave this place. The Thousand Arms Azura shook his head at Mo Qingyun's question and answered Mo Qingyun. He added, ordinary Heavenly Bull inheritance grounds use the Heavenly Bull treasured rope to turn into a river, and the Heavenly Bull carries the master out. However, I'm not sure about the Nine Bulls' divine continent, but we can give it a try. All right. Hearing the Thousand Arms Azura suggestion, Mo Qingyun nodded his head and immediately released a surge of holy force. This saint power was sent out and poured into the Heavenly Bull treasure rope, urging it to turn into a heavenly river. Soon, the Heavenly Bull treasured rope emitted a golden light as it flew into the void. In a short while, the Heavenly Bull Mountain sect had turned into a golden river that connected to the outside world. Success! Seeing this, Mo Qingyun's face lit up, knowing that the Thousand Arms Azura's method was correct. Then, Mo Qingyun sent Luo Jian and the Blood Cloud flying ship into the Fortune mainland. After everything was done, Mo Qingyun rode on the Thousand Arms Azura and flew towards the Golden River. When he arrived at the Golden River, Mo Qingyun felt a shocking space energy fluctuation. What shocking space energy? If I'm sucked into it, I'll be torn into pieces. Sensing the space energy's presence ship, Mo's heart skipped a beat. Otherwise, it would be difficult to leave the Nine Bulls' divine continent. Even if he captured people from other star fields and used their methods to leave, he would still be able to leave the Wood Origin continent. At that time, he would have to expend a lot of energy to return to the Wood Source galaxy. Next, Mo Qingyun rode the Thousand-Armed Azura and swam into the Golden River. About an hour later, with the help of the Thousand Arms Azura, Mo Qingyun reached the other side of the Golden River and exited the Nine Bulls' divine land. After leaving the Nine Bulls' divine continent, Mo Qingyun scanned his surroundings and determined his location. Although he was not near the Heavenly Bull Mountain sect, he was sure that he was on the Divine Ox mainland. Since he was on the Divine Ox mainland, it didn't matter. With the Blood Cloud flying ship speed, it would only take him a few days to reach the Heavenly Bull Mountain sect. Since I'm back on the Divine Ox mainland, it's time to return to the Heavenly Bull Mountain sect. Mo Qingyun looked around and took out the Blood Cloud airship. He said to the thousand-armed Azura, "You're more familiar with the divine Ox continent, so you'll take control of the Blood Cloud airship and head to the Heavenly Ox sect." Yes. Hearing Mo Qingyun's order, the Thousand Arms Azura complied and entered the Blood Cloud flying ship. Once inside, the Thousand Arms Azura controlled the Blood Cloud flying ship and rushed towards the Heavenly Bull Mountain sect. While the Thousand Arms Azura was rushing, he also changed his appearance, reverting to his original appearance. Mo Qingyun didn't care about the Thousand Arms Azura's actions and began to observe the second level of the nine-directional Godly Bull Sword art. After observing for a while, Mo Qingyun clearly understood the cultivation method of the second level. What surprised him was that if he wanted to cultivate to the second level, he would need a few more rare materials. Galaxy Meteorite Flame, Star Nest Fire, 100 Million Year Flame Crystal. Mo Qingyun suddenly had a headache when he thought about the items he needed. These items weren't easy to find. As far as he knew, he had never heard of these things. While he was having a headache trying to find these items, Mo Qingyun's understanding of the nine-directional Godly Bull Sword art became more thorough. He thought to himself, "It seems like the complete nine-directional Godly Bull Sword art is indeed a refining technique." According to Mo Qingyun's guess, cultivating the nine-directional Godly Bull Sword art to perfection would allow him to refine a terrifying divine sword. Although this situation made him feel somewhat surprised, he was still very much looking forward to it. One had to know that the complete nine-directional Godly Bull Sword had 9 powerful divine abilities. Just the first divine ability, Ignore Defense, was already so powerful. The other divine abilities would be even more shocking. No wonder it's rumored that the nine-directional Godly Bull Sword art has reached the level of a great emperor. Mo Qingyun muttered to himself. He didn't think too much about it and started to plan silently. With my strength alone, it won't be easy to gather information on refining materials. Looks like I'll have to rely on the power of the sect. After thinking about this, Mo Qingyun was no longer in a hurry and started to cultivate the second level of the nine-directional Godly Bull Sword art. Furthermore, his cultivation couldn't be broken through ordinary cultivation, so Mo Qingyun didn't raise his cultivation base. Although he wasn't immersed in cultivation, Mo Qingyun didn't idle around either. Instead, he analyzed his own weaknesses. The offensive divine abilities and some defensive techniques I've grasped are basically enough. Mo Qingyun pondered this for a bit. He immediately had a clear understanding of his own situation. My current weakness should be the cultivation of my primordial spirit. I haven't been able to find a cultivation technique that can strengthen my primordial spirit. If my primordial spirit is stronger, I'll have more trump cards when I meet enemies. After this analysis, Mo Qingyun had a clear understanding of the direction of his cultivation. First, he could borrow the sect's power to gather the materials needed to cultivate the nine-directional Godly Bull Sword art, or obtain information on these materials. Second, he could find a cultivation method to strengthen his primordial spirit and increase the power of his primordial spirit to increase his trump cards. Third, he could look for some ancient secret realms to improve his cultivation. The Fortune Mainland's Grand Misty can increase the power of my primordial spirit. Maybe I could try my luck there. A thought flashed in Mo Qingyun's mind as he thought of the Fortune Mainland's gray fog area and decided to explore it. He had been unable to set foot in that place for a long time, which made him very curious. Chapter 26:02. Not long after, a gray sea appeared before Mo Qingyun's eyes. Looking at the endless sea of fog before him, Mo Qingyun carefully took a step forward and walked into the primordial sea of fog. As soon as Mo Qingyun entered the primordial sea of fog, he felt a violent energy invade him. The energy in the primordial sea of fog is still as violent as ever. Berserk primordial chaos energy surged from all around. Mo Qingyun was startled and immediately tried to defend himself. Under the protection of Mo Qingyun's saint energy, The damage caused by the primordial energy immediately weakened. With my current strength, I can barely resist the primordial energy. After resisting the impact of the primordial energy, Mo Qingyun did not stop and carefully went deeper into the primordial sea of fog. As Mo Qingyun went deeper into the primordial mist sea, small, multicolored fish appeared in his line of sight. Spirits of primordial energy. Looking at the colorful fish in front of him, Mo Qingyun was shocked, and a surprised smile appeared on his face. The primordial energy in these small fish was different from the primordial sea of fog. They were formed from the purest primordial energy. If he refined them, not only could his cultivation improve greatly, but he could also refine the same energy in his body. Thinking of this, Mo Qingyun did not think too much and immediately captured the colorful fish in front of him. However, just as Mo Qingyun activated his sane energy, the colorful fish fled in fright. In the blink of an eye, the colorful fish dived into the depths of the primordial sea of fog. It disappeared from Mo Qingyun's perception. As expected of a spirits of primordial energy, its perception is indeed powerful. Seeing the colorful fish's performance, Mo Qingyun was shocked and could not help but sigh. Although the colorful fish had escaped, Mo Qingyun did not care too much. If it was so easy to capture, it would not be as spirits of primordial energy. Since there are spirits of primordial energy here, then I have to explore carefully. A strong sense of anticipation arose in Mo Qingyun's heart, urging him to continue deeper into the primordial mist sea. As Mo Qingyun went deeper into the primordial mist sea, the pressure of the primordial energy he endured grew stronger and stronger. Mo Qingyun stopped about 100 meters deep into the Hongmeng Sea, and he revealed a strained expression. Right now, his endurance had already reached its limit, and he was unable to go any deeper. It seems that if I want to go deeper, my strength will have to improve further. When Mo Qingyun discovered that the endurance of his physical body had reached a certain limit, he had an idea. He thought to himself, if I use the primordial energy to temper my body and improve my physique, I should be able to go deeper. With this thought in mind, Mo Qingyun sat down cross-legged and used the primordial power to temper his body. Then, Mo Qingyun gave up resisting and allowed the primordial energy to wash over his body. Under the impact of the primordial energy, Mo Qingyun's mind shook and he felt a terrible pain. As expected of the primordial energy, even with my current physical strength, I can still feel pain. While Mo Qingyun was shocked by the pain in his body, he also circulated his absolute beginning darkness fortune bloodline. If he did not recover from the primordial energy's impact on his body, there would be hidden dangers in his cultivation. Before long, Mo Qingyun withdrew from his cultivation. His brows were tightly knitted together as he thought to himself, the injuries caused by the primordial energy are too difficult to recover from. With my current physical strength, I can't continue cultivating. Sensing his cultivation situation, Mo Qingyun sighed and gave up on using the primordial energy to temper his body. He had only cultivated for a few hours, but his physical body could no longer endure the primordial energy's impact, and he suffered some injuries. Then, Mo Qingyun left the primordial mist sea and returned to the Fortune mainland. After leaving the primordial mist sea, Mo Qingyun sat down cross-legged and cultivated to recover from his injuries. Several hours later, thanks to Mo Qingyun's concentrated cultivation, the injuries on his body had healed. He glanced at the sea of primordial mist before him and said, "When I break through to the celestial domain grade or strengthen my body further, there shouldn't be too much of a problem if I use the primordial mist to cultivate." Mo Qingyun muttered to himself. He did not stay any longer and left the Fortune mainland in a flash. After leaving the Fortune mainland, Mo Qingyun arrived at the Blood Cloud flying ship. He appeared beside the Thousand Arms Azura and asked, "Where are we now? How long will it take to reach the Heavenly Bull Mountain sect?" Replying to Master, "We will reach the Heavenly Bull Mountain sect in 2 hours." Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, the Thousand Arms Azura respectfully reported their current itinerary. Mo Qingyun nodded his head after learning their current location from the Thousand Arms Azura. Seeing that they were not far from the Heavenly Bull Mountain sect, Mo Qingyun did not do anything else and continued to control the Blood Cloud flying ship. With Mo Qingyun's help, the Blood Cloud flying ship's speed immediately rose to a whole new level. Approximately an incense stick's worth of time later, when the Blood Cloud flying ship arrived at the Heavenly Bull Mountain sect, Mo Qingyun sent the Thousand Arms Azura and the Blood Cloud flying ship into the Fortune mainland. After everything was done, Mo Qingyun walked into the Heavenly Bull Mountain sect, ready to ask about entering the Heavenly Bull Mountain sect. When Mo Qingyun walked into the Heavenly Bull Mountain sect, he felt a stifling atmosphere. The Heavenly Bull Mountain sect disciples were tense, as if they were facing a great enemy. The Heavenly Bull Mountain sect is in trouble. Seeing this scene, Mo Qingyun's heart skipped a beat, and he immediately guessed a possibility. Then he quickened his pace and walked into the Heavenly Bull Mountain sect. Not long after, Mo Qingyun saw two groups of people facing off against the people from the Mount Skybull sect. In front of these two groups of people, there were three old men in green robes, and they looked superior. What a familiar bloodline aura! It seems to be the same as Wang Ziyu and the others. Sensing the bloodline presences of the three old men, Mo Qingyun's heart skipped a beat. He guessed their identities and thought, if I've guessed correctly, the three of them should be from the Divine Wood clan. Why had they come here? Looking at the three old men in green robes, Mo Qingyun was puzzled, and he was curious about their arrival. Sect Master Tai Shi, your sect's Mo Qingyun is cruel and tyrannical. I advise you not to cover for him. The Heavenly Bull Mountain sect has always been on good terms with our two sects. Don't ruin our relationship because of this child. Now that the Divine Wood Tribe's High Envoy is here, let's hand Mo Qingyun over to them and let them deal with him fairly. As Mo Qingyun walked towards the group of people, the Fengyan Sky Sect's people's words entered his ears. Hearing these people's words, Mo Qingyun frowned, and he roughly understood the current situation. If he guessed correctly, these two sects were here for him, and they wanted to use him to make trouble for the Heavenly Bull Mountain sect. Chapter 26:03. Since you took the initiative to deliver yourselves to me, I will help the Heavenly Bull Mountain sect resolve some problems before I leave. Mo Qingyun thought to himself as he walked towards Iron Rhino and the others. He was prepared to teach the two sects a lesson. Given his current strength, it would be very easy for him to deal with the Qingyun Sword sect and the Fengyan Sky sect. Disciple Mo Qingyun pays his respects to the sect master and the various elders. Mo Qingyun cupped his fists and saluted Tai Shi and the others when he saw their expressions. Everyone was shocked when they saw Mo Qingyun appear. They hadn't expected him to return at this time. Peak Galaxy Grade. Iron Rhino was startled when he sensed Mo Qingyun's aura fluctuation. Then he looked delighted. Immediately, he nodded at Mo Qingyun and said, I originally thought that breaking through to the Galaxy Grade would be your limit after entering the Heavenly Bull Mountain's inheritance ground. I didn't expect you to break through to the Peak Galaxy Grade. You really didn't disappoint us. Iron Rhino nodded at Mo Qingyun and gestured to him. Qingyun, step aside first. Wait for us to deal with the matter at hand before you report the situation of the inheritance ground. All right. After hearing Iron Rhino's instructions, Mo Qingyun walked behind the crowd and thought about how to repel the people of the two sections. The reason Mo Qingyun wasn't in a hurry to make a move was because he wanted to see what the two sects had up their sleeves. Mo Qingyun felt that the people before him weren't enough to deal with Tai Balong and the others. More importantly, he still hadn't seen Tai Balong, so he felt that something wasn't right. He wanted to solve the problem for the Heavenly Bull Mountain sect, so he couldn't leave any traces behind. Therefore, it wouldn't be too late to take action after observing the overall situation. Everyone, the Heavenly Bull Mountain sect isn't easy to bully. It's not a good thing to provoke us. Zhou Wenan, who had replaced the sect master, warned the people of the two sects and the Divine Wood Prime Minister's manner. Upon hearing Zhou Wunan's words, an old man in green robes immediately sneered. Although the Heavenly Bull Divine sect isn't weak, it's still far from enough compared to the Divine Wood royal family. That brat Mo Qingyun killed the young master of our Prime Minister's mansion. He must be buried with the young master. I advise you not to meddle in other people's business and bring trouble to the Heavenly Bull Divine sect. As soon as this person spoke, he released a powerful aura. He was a late-stage celestial domain grade. Under the pressure of this person's aura, Zhou Wunan and the others were shocked. A trace of fear appeared on their faces. Now, that Tai Ba Long was in seclusion. With their strength, they couldn't stop the people from the Prime Minister's residence. So it's people from the Prime Minister's residence. They've come to avenge Lu Yuanjia. Hearing the green-robed old man's words, Mo Qingyun nodded in understanding. He knew the purpose of their visit. Immediately after, a mocking look appeared in his eyes as he looked at them. He hadn't even gone to the Divine Wood royal family, yet they had taken the initiative to deliver themselves to him. As Mo Qingyun pondered this, the sect master of the Qingyun sword sect, Lan Jing, walked in front of everyone and said, "Sect Master Zhou Wunan, Mo Qingyun killing Lu Yuanjia is a matter for the younger generation. I think we shouldn't interfere. We should let the younger generation deal with it themselves." Zhou Wunan and the others remained silent when they heard Lu Lanjing's words. They just stared at the former solemnly. They want to know what Lu Lanjing was planning and what kind of tricks he was going to play. As everyone watched, Lu Lanjing smirked and said, "Don't say that we didn't give Mo Qingyun a chance. Our two sects and the Prime Minister's residence will each send a younger generation to fight him. If he wins consecutively, we will forget about Lu Yuanjia's death. What do you think?" Zhou Wunan and the others tensed up when they heard Lu Lanjing's suggestion. It had to be said that Lu Lanjing's request was a little too demanding. He wanted to use this tactic of attrition to slowly exhaust Mo Qingyun to death. "Qingyun, what do you think?" Zhou Wunan pondered for a moment. He looked at Mo Qingyun behind him and asked for Mo Qingyun's opinion. In his opinion, this was related to Mo Qingyun's life and death. It was better to let Mo Qingyun make the decision. Sect Master, agree with him. Mo Qingyun nodded indifferently when he heard Zhou Wunan's question, expressing his thoughts. Seeing Mo Qingyun's attitude, the surrounding people were shocked. Tai, she hurriedly said to Mo Qingyun, "Qingyun, don't let your emotions affect your decisions right now. If you aren't sure, we can refuse their request." Zhou Wunan and the others nodded one after another, expressing their agreement with Tai Shi's words. After persuading Mo Qingyun, Tai Shi didn't stop talking. He comforted Mo Qingyun. "Qingyun, don't worry. If we really fight, we won't necessarily be afraid of them. Sect Master, elders, you don't have to worry. It's just a few juniors. I can handle them." Seeing the attitude of Tai Shi and the others, Mo Qingyun couldn't help but feel moved and assured them. Seeing Mo Qingyun's attitude, the worries of Zhou Wunan and the others immediately lessened. Immediately, Zhou Wunan turned his head to look at Lu Lanjing. He glanced at the people of the Prime Minister's residence and asked, "Lu Lanjing, can your words represent the Prime Minister's residence?" "We agree with Sect Master Lu's suggestion." Hearing Zhou Wunan's question, an elder of the Prime Minister's residence nodded indifferently. When the elder nodded, the two sides reached an agreement to let Mo Qingyun face off against 3 juniors. "Flowing Cloud Tiger, you go." Since the agreement had been reached, Lu Lanjing didn't hesitate any longer and immediately ordered a young man to fight. When he heard Lu Lanjing's words, the young man, called Flowing Cloud Tiger, slowly walked to the center of the crowd. Flowing Cloud Tiger's aura wasn't weak. He had already reached the celestial domain grade, and his aura fluctuations were very stable. Clearly, he hadn't just broken through. Instead, he had already stabilized his cultivation base. Flowing Cloud Tiger glanced at Mo Qingyun with a disdainful expression. "Mo Qingyun, I heard that you encountered Feng Zhengyang and the others when you entered the Ninox Divine Continent. Is that true? So what if it is true? So what if it isn't?" Mo Qingyun replied calmly before adding, a cannon fodder leading the way. If you want to make a move, hurry up. There's still 2 people waiting behind. You. Flowing Cloud Tiger's face darkened when he heard Mo Qingyun's disdainful words. He was enraged. He had never imagined that he would be looked down upon by Mo Qingyun. This made him very unhappy. Immediately, Flowing Cloud Tiger's face darkened. He glared at Mo Qingyun and said, "You're lucky that you didn't meet me in the Ninox Divine Continent. Otherwise, you would be a dead man now. However, it's the same if I deal with you now." As soon as Flowing Cloud Tiger said that, his figure flashed and rushed towards Mo Qingyun. Chapter 2604. Thousand Swords Eagle Rush. Sword-like Saint power erupted from the Flowing Cloud Tiger's body and turned into an astonishing sword light. The sword light quickly converged and formed a diving eagle that pounced on Mo Qingyun like a serpent. When they saw the might of the Skyflow Tiger's sword, the people around him were greatly shocked, and their expressions changed. The Flowing Cloud Tiger's strength has actually reached such a level that even I can't take this mystic ability head-on. Iron Rhino's expression tensed up when he saw the Flowing Cloud Tiger's display of strength. He couldn't help but worry for Mo Qingyun. Although Qingyun's strength has increased substantially in the Ninox Divine Continent, defeating the Flowing Cloud Tiger before us will still be very difficult. The Flowing Cloud Tiger, leading the way, is already so powerful. I'm afraid that the people behind him will be even more difficult to deal with. Zhou Wunan's expression turned grave when he heard Iron Rhino's words. He also started to worry for Mo Qingyun. The current situation was indeed a little bad for Mo Qingyun. Compared to Iron Rhino and the others' worries, the people from the Prime Minister's residence and the 2 sects all looked pleased. I never imagined that the Flowing Cloud Tiger's strength would increase so much during this trip to the Ninox Divine Continent. Even I'm no match for him. Although the Flowing Cloud Tiger has only broken through to the Celestial Domain grade not long ago, given his current strength, it will be difficult for anyone below the mid-level Celestial Domain grade to match him. Although Mo Qingyun is monstrous, given his peak galaxy-grade cultivation, he will definitely lose this battle. Lulinjing and the others sneered when they saw the Flowing Cloud Tiger's display of strength. It was as if they could see Mo Qingyun's defeat. In their opinion, there was basically no suspense in the battle between the Flowing Cloud Tiger and Mo Qingyun. He is really too weak. Mo Qingyun shook his head in disappointment as he watched the Flowing Cloud Tiger get closer and closer. He didn't want to waste his breath on him. Given the Flowing Cloud Tiger's strength, it would be difficult for the other party to hurt him even if he stood still. Then, Mo Qingyun placed his hands behind his back and scrutinized the Flowing Cloud Tiger like an emperor. At this moment, a threatening aura chi formed outside Mo Qingyun's body. Go! With a thought, Mo Qingyun's gang chi transformed into numerous chi swords and shot toward the eagle in the air. Under Mo Qingyun's control, the sword aura transformed into a chi dragon and collided with the sword aura eagle. Chi chi chi. Faced with the domineering bombardment of the sword aura eagle was instantly defeated and quickly dissipated in midair. Seeing this scene, the surrounding people were all stunned. How? How is this possible? He actually defeated the Skyflow Tiger's full power attack. Seeing the situation in front of him, Lu Longjing's eyes widened in shock. He knew that Mo Qingyun's strength was not weak, but to be strong to this extent was still beyond his expectations. Compared to Lu Longjing's shock, the eyes of the 3 old men from the Divine Wood Prime Minister's mansion flashed sharply. Immediately, they looked at the young man beside them with a solemn expression and said, "Young lord, this kid's strength is much stronger than what was reported. You have to be careful later. Although his performance is much stronger than what was reported, it's still not enough to cause us to worry." Hearing the words of the old man beside him, the purple-robed young man waved his hand indifferently and said, "If his strength is only like what was reported, then he's not even qualified to fight with me." The old men nodded in agreement with the purple-robed young man's words. given the young man's identity and strength. If Mo Qingyun was only at the Nebula realm, the two were indeed incomparable. Over at the Heavenly Bull Mountain sect side, Qingyun actually blocked the Skyflow Tiger's full power attack. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, Iron Rhino's expression was shocked. He smiled excitedly and said, "I knew it. This kid can't be judged by common sense. His strength really can't be judged by his cultivation." Hearing Iron Rhino's words, Zhou Wunan shook his head and said, "In the exchange just now, Mo Qingyun didn't use his full power. I'm afraid his true strength is much stronger than what we saw." Zhou Ping and the others nodded in agreement with Zhou Wunan's analysis. They felt that his words were correct. Knowing this, the worry in their hearts lessened. In their opinion, the stronger Mo Qingyun was, the safer the following exchange would be. My full power attack can't be resisted by a mid-stage star domain powerhouse. How can you defeat it so easily? Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, the Skyflow Tiger was shocked and in disbelief. Mo Qingyun's current performance was too unbelievable for him. Hearing the Skyflow Tiger's question, Mo Qingyun shook his head indifferently and said, "The level of one's cultivation realm doesn't represent the strength of one's strength. Haven't you heard of skipping levels to battle?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the Skyflow Tiger's expression changed, and he looked at Mo Qingyun in shock. As a genius of the Qingyun sword sect, skipping levels to battle was a common occurrence. However, it was always him skipping levels to challenge others. Now, that Mo Qingyun had skipped levels to battle him, it was naturally a little hard for him to accept. This psychological gap was a little too big. I was just careless just now. This is the real fight." Forcefully suppressing the shock in his heart, the Skyflow Tiger attacked again. A long sword appeared in his hand. The Skyflow Tiger brandished the long sword a few times and said proudly, "I obtained this green ox cold light sword in the 9 ox divine continent. It is a nebula-grade weapon. If you can force me to use it, then you can lose honorably. It's just a nebula-grade weapon, yet you're bragging so much. It's as if it's even stronger than a universe-grade weapon." Mo Qingyun curled his lips in disdain at the Skyflow Tiger's bragging and mocked him. "Your own strength is too weak. Even if it was a universe-grade weapon, you still wouldn't be a match for me, let alone a nebula-grade weapon." Seeing Mo Qingyun's reaction, Tiger Flowing Cloud's face darkened and a strong sense of anger rose within him. He had originally thought that by taking out the green ox cold light sword, he would be able to instill fear in Mo Qingyun's heart. Unexpectedly, Mo Qingyun's performance was the exact opposite of what he had imagined. "Although you talk big, kid, you can't even take out a nebula-grade weapon." The Skyflow Tiger suppressed the anger in his heart and raised his head proudly as he mocked Mo Qingyun. However, as soon as he finished speaking, he froze and stared at Mo Qingyun in shock. He saw many powerful weapons and treasured armors floating in front of Mo Qingyun. The Skyflow Tiger wasn't the only one stunned when he saw these weapons and treasured armors. The people around him were also stunned. So many nebula-grade weapons. What kind of luck did Mo Qingyun have to obtain so many treasures? Nebula-grade weapons are considered common, but nebula-grade treasured armors are rare. I never imagined that Mo Qingyun would have so many of them. It might not be a good thing for a galaxy-grade kid to obtain so many treasures. More importantly, he took them out to show off. This is simply a fatal mistake. The people of the Prime Minister's residence and the two sects were shocked when they saw the weapons and armor around Mo Qingyun. While they were shocked, they also had greedy expressions on their faces as they coveted Mo Qingyun's weapons and armor. Iron Rhinoceros and the others had grave expressions when they saw the reaction of the people of the Prime Minister's residence and the two sections. Mo Qingyun is too careless. If he does this, it will bring him a lot of trouble. After all, he's still young and doesn't think things through thoroughly enough. Zhou Wenan sighed and said helplessly, "Fortunately, we are all here now. It won't be easy for the people of the Prime Minister's residence and the two sects to harm Qingyun. What do you think?" Are my divine weapons and armors still worthy of your attention? Under everyone's gazes, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and asked for the tiger's opinion. Mo Qingyun's question immediately embarrassed the Skyflow tiger and made him speechless. He really hadn't expected that Mo Qingyun would have so many treasures in his possession. After a brief moment of shock, the Skyflow tiger's expression turned even uglier. Umph. Although you have many treasures, given your cultivation base, you won't be able to refine them and unleash their power. You think too much. I don't need these things to deal with you. Upon hearing the Skyflow tiger's words, Mo Qingyun shook his head and smiled disdainfully at the Skyflow tiger. Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's words, the Skyflow tiger was immediately enraged. Arrogant brat, I would like to see just how capable you are. It was the green snake bamboo sea sword. The Skyflow tiger brandished the green ox cold light sword, which emitted a dazzling light and blasted out streaks of green sword shadows. When these sword shadows were blasted out, they turned into green bamboos that enveloped Mo Qingyun. In the blink of an eye, a sea of bamboo sword shadows was formed and bamboo sword lights shot out. These bamboo sword lights were very powerful. Each one was comparable to an attack from a celestial domain-grade powerhouse, so no one dared to underestimate them. Zhou Wunan was stunned when he saw the Skyflow tiger's attack. Not good. The Skyflow tiger's mystic ability is too powerful. Qingyun might not be able to withstand it. Zhou Wunan got ready to stop the Skyflow tiger and rescue Mo Qingyun from the sea of bamboos. Just as Zhou Wunan was about to make his move, a wave of imposing sword light once again appeared outside Mo Qingyun's body. Uft, uft. The sword light formed outside Mo Qingyun's body like a storm and bombarded the bamboo sword lights and sea of bamboos all around. Due to the bombardment of the sword light, the bamboo sword lights and sea of bamboos were dispersed in the blink of an eye. Zhou Wunan was stunned when he saw this. He was rooted to the spot. Mo Qingyun hadn't even moved his hands, yet he had defeated the Skyflow tiger's mystic ability. This move was really shocking. This meant that, under the circumstances, Mo Qingyun was still holding back. Chapter 2605. Mo Qingyun pointed his finger, and a powerful ray of light shot out from his fingertip. The ray of light was extremely fast. It was as if it had broken through space, and in an instant, it was in front of the tiger. So fast. Seeing the finger light approaching in the blink of an eye, the drifting cloud tiger's expression changed greatly, and a sense of panic appeared in its heart. While the tiger was panicking, he did not hesitate and immediately defended against the ray of light. Serpent Eagle Wing Sword. A surge of violent saint power poured into the Azure Bull Cold Light Sword, causing it to emit a dazzling green light. Then, the tiger quickly waved the Azure Bull Cold Light Sword and slashed out rays of green sword light. Once the green sword light formed, it immediately formed a sword shield to defend against the ray of light. Under the attack of the ray of light, the sword shield instantly collapsed like a plate of loose sand. After the ray of light destroyed the sword shield, its attack disappeared and continued to bombard the tiger. Seeing the terrifying power of the ray of light, the tiger was shocked and quickly raised the Azure Bull Cold Light sword to defend. Clang! When the ray of light hit the Azure Bull Cold Light sword, it made a crisp sound and broke the Azure Bull Cold Light sword. Without the obstruction of the Azure Bull Cold Light sword, the ray of light hit the tiger's body and pierced through the tiger's chest. After being bombarded by the ray of light, the tiger was instantly sent flying and fell heavily to the ground. The tiger fell to the ground and spat out blood. His face was as pale as a sheet of paper. Obviously, Mo Qingyun's ray of light had injured him badly. Xiaohu, how are you? Seeing the tiger's condition, Lu Longjing was shocked and quickly went up to him. The tiger was the #1 genius of the Qing Yun Sword School. He was the future hope of the Qing Yun Sword School. Nothing could happen to him. With Lu Longjing's help, the tiger stood up with difficulty. He shook his head and said, "Don't worry about my injury. I'll be fine after some rest." I didn't expect this kid to be so powerful. We were wrong this time. This time, we have indeed miscalculated. Hearing this, Longjing's expression darkened. He said furiously, "However, the people from the Prime Minister's mansion are here today. This brat is dead for sure." "Yes." Flowing Cloud Tiger nodded and looked at the purple-robed young man in front of him with a look of awe. This purple-robed youth was one of the two most talented people in the Wood Source Galaxy. After learning about the tiger's situation, Lu Longjing looked at the purple-robed youth and exchanged glances with him. Under the purple-robed young man's hint, Lu Longjing looked at the sect leader of the Wind Cloud sect and said in a low voice, "Sect leader Feng Baishan, since Xiao, who is lost, please send your disciples to teach that brat, Mo, Qingyun, a lesson." "All right." Feng Baishan nodded. He waved his hand at the white-robed young man beside him and said, "Feng Xie, it's your turn now. Don't show any mercy when you fight with that kid. It's time to settle the grudge of your junior brother and junior sister today." "Yes." Hearing Feng Baishan's words, the black-robed young man stood up and slowly walked towards Mo Qingyun. When the black-robed young man stood up, he released an aura that was stronger than Flowing Cloud Tiger's. If Flowing Cloud Tiger was a wild boar, Feng Xie would be a dark wolf. He was stronger and more dangerous than Flowing Cloud Tiger. "Please." Feng Xie glanced at Mo Qingyun and made a gesture of invitation. He chose to make the first move. Feng Xie's figure moved, and he turned into a shadow. His speed instantly increased to the extreme. To think that Feng Xie's speed has reached such a level. Qingyun's situation is not good. Even if I fly at full speed, I can't catch his trace. Although Qingyun's combat strength is strong, he can't catch Feng Xie's trace. It's a waste of effort. Seeing Feng Xie's performance, the people of the Sky Bull Mountain sect were shocked and shocked. Subsequently, Tai Shi and the others tensed up. They were worried for Mo Qingyun. In their view, Feng Xie was Mo Qingyun's nemesis. He just happened to restrain Mo Qingyun. Compared to the worries of Tai Shi and the others, Feng Baishan looked at Feng Xie's performance and proudly raised his head. He smiled and said, "I didn't expect Feng Xie's speed to increase so much. It seems that he has gained a lot from this seclusion." Hearing Feng Baishan's words, Lu Longjing was shocked. He said in surprise, "Sect Master Feng Baishan, your sect has hidden so deeply. You actually have such a trump card." Feng Baishan was very satisfied with Lu Longjing's surprise. He said proudly, "Feng Xie's luck is heaven-defying. He once received the inheritance of invincible Emperor Qing, and touched the threshold of space law." "I see." After Feng Baishan's explanation, Lu Longjing was shocked and showed an envious expression. Feng Baishan enjoyed Lu Longjing's envy, but he didn't say anything. As for the people of the Divine Wood Prime Minister's mansion, they were calm when they saw Feng Xie's performance. While everyone was whispering, Feng Xie had already exchanged blows with Mo Qingyun. The two of them tested each other a few times. So fast. After seeing Feng Xie's speed, Mo Qingyun was shocked. He was surprised by his performance. Even Chu Chanbak then was far inferior to Feng Xie in terms of speed. This guy has some skills. He is stronger than the Flowing Cloud Tiger just now. After testing Feng Xie a few times, Mo Qingyun had a rough idea of his strength. Immediately, Mo Qingyun didn't want to hide his strength anymore. He was ready to increase his speed. Mo Qingyun raised his right hand, and a pure saint power blasted out from his fingertips. When the saint power burst out, it turned into a green longsword and floated in front of Mo Qingyun. Soon after, Mo Qingyun took a step forward and stepped on the green longsword. He said, "You're still a little lacking if you want to compete with me in speed. I hope you have some other ability. Otherwise, this competition is over." As Mo Qingyun spoke, his figure transformed into a streak of green light, making it impossible for others to see his whereabouts. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, the people who hadn't calmed down were even more shocked. So fast. Mo Qingyun's speed is even faster than Feng Xie's. This guy hid his strength really well. He actually kept such a trump card. Feng Xie's speed is so fast because he has touched the threshold of the law of space. Could it be that Mo Qingyun has also done it? This Mo Qingyun is really a monster. If he is allowed to grow, the consequences will be unimaginable. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, the expressions of the people from the Prime Minister's residence and the two sects immediately darkened. The threat that Mo Qingyun gave them suddenly increased by a lot. Good. Seeing that Mo Qingyun still had such a move, Zhou Wunan couldn't help but shout loudly to express his feelings. Hearing Zhou Wunan's words, Tai Shi and the others were also excited. They all clenched their fists. Mo Qingyun's performance had given him too much of a surprise. Under the excited gazes of Tai Shi and the others, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed and arrived before Feng Xie. He said, "It's meaningless to keep dodging like this. I don't have the patience to play hide-and-seek with you. If you don't attack first, then I'll have to attack first." As Mo Qingyun spoke, he clenched his right hand, and a Saint Power longsword appeared in his hand. Urging the Saint Power to condense into a longsword, Mo Qingyun stabbed it in front of him, and a terrifying burst of Saint Power erupted. When this burst of Saint Power erupted, it turned into a cage made of vines, enveloping him and Feng Xie. Immediately, numerous green sword glows and numerous wooden sword glows attacked Feng Xie one after another. Facing this kind of concentrated attack, even if Feng Xie's speed was even faster, he was still thrown into confusion. Then, his flying speed suddenly decreased, and he fell into a perilous situation. Seeing Feng Xie's performance, Mo Qingyun shook his head in disappointment. He said, "Looks like other than your speed, you're useless in all other aspects. You're far inferior to the previous one. It's time for this battle to end." Shadow Ox escape slash. Mo Qingyun waved his Saint Power longsword, and a transparent sword ray flashed in the air. After a while, when the transparent sword ray reappeared, it was already in front of Feng Xie. Seeing the transparent sword ray coming at him, Feng Xie was so scared that his face trembled. However, he was powerless to defend himself. Then, Feng Xie widened his eyes and watched the transparent sword ray land on his body. Bam! After being hit by the transparent sword ray, Feng Xie was directly sent flying, and a hideous wound appeared on his body. After suffering such an injury, Feng Xie lost his ability to fight. He looked at Mo Qingyun in horror. The strength that Mo Qingyun displayed had frightened him. They were not on the same level at all. It was only when he fought with Mo Qingyun that he truly realized how huge the gap was. After crippling Feng Xie with one strike, Mo Qingyun waved his right hand and removed the sword array. Feng Xie was also defeated. As the sword array was removed, everyone saw Feng Xie, and they were all shocked. Originally, they thought that the one who couldn't withstand a single blow would be Mo Qingyun. They didn't expect that after 2 consecutive battles, Mo Qingyun would defeat Feng Xie and Feng Xie in such a strong manner. Seeing Feng Xie's situation, Feng Baishan was nervous. He immediately came to Feng Xie's side. After asking about Feng Xie's situation, Feng Baishan's expression relaxed, and he helped Feng Xie to the side. After 2 consecutive defeats, the morale of the two sects plummeted. They looked at the Divine Wood Prime Minister's residence. In their opinion, whether or not they could turn the situation around now depended on the Divine Wood Prime Minister's residence. "I thought that it would be a boring battle for you to challenge the 3 of us." Feeling the gazes of the two sects, the purple-robed youth stood up and slowly walked towards Mo Qingyun. He said, "I didn't expect that your performance would surprise me. You're qualified to fight with me." Hearing the purple-robed youth's words, Mo Qingyun curled his lips in disdain and sneered. "You think too highly of yourself. What qualifications do I need to fight with you? You are the one who is not qualified to fight with me." After Mo Qingyun's words, those who knew the purple-robed youth's identity burst into an uproar. Chapter 26:06. This Mo Qingyun is too arrogant. Young Master Lu is one of the unparalleled divine trees. He's the most talented person in the wood source galaxy. He's just trying to win with his tongue. He'll regret it when we start fighting. The people of the two sects and the Divine Wood Prime Minister's mansion all snorted disdainfully when they saw Mo Qingyun's performance. After learning Lu Gongming's identity from the three parties, Zhou Wunan's expression shook as he exclaimed, "He's Lu Gongming. I heard that he broke through to the middle stage of the Star Domain realm in a training ground not long ago. Not long after he came out of the training ground, he killed a late-stage Star Domain realm powerhouse of the Blood Soul Galaxy all by himself." Hearing Zhou Wunan's words, Tai Shi and the others beside him were shocked, and each of their faces revealed astonishment. Zhou Wunan's news had frightened them. Lu Gongming was actually so strong. If that's the case, won't Qingyun be in danger? Tai Shi looked worried after learning about Lu Gongming's deeds. He couldn't help but ask Zhou Wunan, "Sect Master, since Lu Gongming is so strong, should we ask Senior Tai Balong to come out of seclusion?" Tai Shi's request made Zhou Wunan hesitate. He didn't know what to do. Given Lu Gongming's strength, the only person who could keep him in check was Tai Balong. However, Tai Balong was in seclusion. The consequences of forcibly breaking out of seclusion were very serious. Zhou Wunan hesitated for a moment and made a difficult decision. He decided not to inform Tai Balong first. Mo Qingyun's speed is very fast. If he wants to escape, Lu Gongming probably won't be able to catch up. Let's wait and see. Tai Shi and the others nodded. Zhou Wunan's idea was good. His analysis was very rational. Under everyone's gaze, Lu Gongming's expression was cold. He glanced regretfully at Mo Qingyun and said, "Originally, I really couldn't bear to kill you with your talent. Unfortunately, you killed the people of my Prime Minister's mansion. Although my second brother is useless, he's not someone you can kill." Small Dipper Cloud Sword. Lu Gongming waved his hand, and 32 green-white wooden swords appeared around him. These wooden swords exuded a terrifying aura as soon as he took them out, giving off a feeling of invincibility. 32-star sector-grade divine weapons. Young Master Lu Gongming truly lives up to his reputation. Seeing the 32 wooden swords, Lu Longjing's expression trembled, and an intense shock appeared in his eyes. In their green cloud sword sect, there was only one divine weapon that had reached the star sector grade, and it was the sect's most precious treasure. This comparison showed how powerful Lu Gongming was. "Go!" Taking out the 32 green-white wooden swords, Lu Gongming pointed with his finger and controlled them to fly towards Mo Qingyun. The 32 greenish-white wooden swords attacked at an extremely fast speed. In the blink of an eye, they were above Mo Qingyun. Swish, swish, swish. 32 green-white wooden swords fell, forming a powerful sword array that emitted dazzling light. Very quickly, these rays of light turned into sword radiance and blasted towards Mo Qingyun. Child's play. Facing these sword radiance attacks, Mo Qingyun's lips curled into a faint smile. He didn't even bother to defend himself. Although Lu Gongming's attack was indeed powerful, it still wasn't enough to injure him. Without the strength of a quasi-universe grade, one wouldn't even be able to break his sword intent, let alone injure him. As Mo Qingyun spoke, he waved his arm and a terrifying flaming energy shot out. This flaming energy erupted and swept out in all directions, forming a sword array in the blink of an eye. Bang, bang, bang. After the flaming sword array was formed, waves of violent energy erupted and turned into flaming sword radiances. These flaming sword radiances formed and blasted towards the sword radiances, blocking their attacks. Then, the sword radiances that were blasted towards Mo Qingyun were all blocked. After blocking the attack of the green sword array, Mo Qingyun looked at Lu Gongming and mocked him. "Your strength is much weaker than I imagined. You'd better show me your true abilities." Upon hearing Mo Qingyun's words, everyone around was stunned. They had once again witnessed his arrogance. Compared to the shock of the others, Lu Gongming's face was gloomy as he said coldly, "You don't have the final say on my strength. If you want to see my true abilities, you'd better break my sword array first." Yes, You can't even break the sword array. Why are you acting all high and mighty? In my opinion, Mo Qingyun's words are just to provoke Lu Gongming into opening the sword array. This kid is really cunning. We definitely can't let him succeed. Upon hearing Lu Gongming's words, the people from the two sects and the Prime Minister's residence started to encourage him. While the people from the three forces were all talking at once, Mo Qingyun curled his lips in disdain and said disdainfully, "It's just a mediocre sword array. It can't trap me. I'll break it now." It ignores defense. If it can ignore the defense of others, it should also be able to ignore the defense of formations. Mo Qingyun looked around. A bold guess appeared in his mind. With this thought in mind, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated and immediately summoned the divine Sword of Nine Oxen. After this period of refinement, the aura of the divine Sword of Nine Oxen was obviously stronger and sharper than before. It ignores defense. Mo Qingyun held the divine Sword of Nine Oxen and swung it forward, slashing out a crescent-shaped sword radiance. The speed of the sword radiance was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, it blasted into the sword array and landed on a green-white wooden sword. Bang! After being bombarded by the overbearing sword radiance, the green-white wooden sword immediately exploded. As the green-white wooden sword exploded, the green sword array that trapped Mo Qingyun broke by itself. Seeing that the sword array had exploded, Mo Qingyun no longer hesitated and walked out of the sword array. How was it? After coming out of the sword array, Mo Qingyun looked at Lu Gongming and revealed a provocative look. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, Lu Gongming's expression turned solemn. It seemed that he was taking Mo Qingyun seriously. At this moment, he suddenly realized that he had still underestimated Mo Qingyun. Lu Gongming's sword array has been broken. We've all underestimated Qingyun. Seeing Mo Qingyun walk out of the sword array, Taishi's expression was excited. His eyes were filled with surprise. Although he was no longer the sect master, it was the most gratifying thing for the Skybowl Mountain sect to have such a disciple. Hearing Taishi's excited words, Zhou Wunan revealed a surprised smile. He said, "Lu Gongming's sword array just now was something that even I couldn't break. I didn't expect Mo Qingyun to break it. After not seeing him for a while, this kid has already grown to a level that I can only look up to." Hearing this, Taishi and the others' expressions became complicated. They were both gratified and emotional. Mo Qingyun's growth speed was indeed frighteningly fast, making others feel that they were left in the dust. Compared to the joy of Taishi and the others, the three sects' expressions were heavy. They were faintly enduring a trace of pressure. In their eyes, Mo Qingyun was too strong. Even Lu Gongming couldn't suppress him. "Your performance has indeed surprised me, but it's time to stop." After seriously sizing up Mo Qingyun, Lu Gongming's expression became cold. His aura also became stronger. As Lu Gongming's aura became stronger, Mo Qingyun immediately gasped in surprise. He looked at him with surprise and said, "I didn't expect you to have awakened a saintly body. It seems that your unparalleled divine would have some skills." After saying this, Mo Qingyun revealed a curious look. He wanted to know what kind of saintly body Lu Gongming had. Seeing that Mo Qingyun had recognized his saintly body, Lu Gongming immediately revealed a look of surprise. His eyes flashed with a touch of pride. He said, "You have some eyesight to be able to see that I have a saintly body. Since you can recognize a saintly body, you must know how powerful it is. You just have a saintly body. What is there to be proud of? It's not like I haven't killed one before." Seeing Lu Gongming's performance, Mo Qingyun disdainfully curled his lips. He said disapprovingly, "In the divine land of Nine Bulls, I have met many people with saintly bodies. Their strength is just SOSO." Mo Qingyun's words could be said to be earth-shattering, giving the surrounding people quite a fright. A saintly body was something that only existed in legends for them. In the entire Wood Source galaxy, there were only two people who had awakened a saintly body. They were called unparalleled divine woods. They didn't expect that Mo Qingyun had even killed such a genius. It was too crazy. He must be bragging to increase his confidence. It must be so. When Lu Gongming attacks, he will know how powerful a saintly body is. At that time, this guy will definitely kneel down and beg for Lu Gongming's forgiveness. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, the people from the three forces started to make fun of Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun didn't care about the words of the people from the three forces. He looked at Lu Gongming calmly and said, "Don't say that I didn't give you a chance. Show me your saintly body." Poisonous wood python, saintly body. Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Lu Gongming snorted coldly and rushed toward Mo Qingyun. Lu Gongming's figure flashed a few times. He arrived in front of Mo Qingyun, and a purple mist burst out from his body. When the purple mist burst out, it turned into a python and crazily swallowed everything around it. Under the influence of the purple mist, some of the nearby plants and houses were immediately turned into black ashes. Seeing such a scene, the surrounding onlookers were so frightened that they all retreated backwards. With their strength, if they were swallowed by the purple mist, they would be seriously injured. It turns out that the power of your saintly body is strengthened by poison. Looking at Lu Gongming, who was getting closer and closer, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and said, "Your saintly body attacks with poison. You may be in for a tragedy. This poison can't hurt me." As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, a green mist burst out from the divine sword of 9 oxen in his hand. Seeing the mist on the divine sword of 9 oxen, the surrounding onlookers were shocked and realized something. If they were not mistaken, the green mist on the divine sword of 9 oxen should be a kind of poison. In this case, it seemed that the battle between Mo Qingyun and Lu Gongming would be decided by poison. Chapter 26:07. Spilled water cannot be retrieved. Mo Qingyun waved the 9-bull divine sword, and a surge of emerald saint power turned into a violent wave. As the wave surged, a terrifying corrosive force erupted, as if it could even corrode space. Seeing such a scene, the surrounding people were all shocked. They were frightened by Mo Qingyun's sword. This kid's strength is so powerful that we can't afford to provoke him. Seeing the power of Mo Qingyun's sword, Flowing Cloud Tiger could not help but sigh. He whispered to Lu Lanjing beside him, "Sect Master, from now on, let's not provoke the Skybowl Mountain sect, lest we bring disaster to the sect." Hearing Flowing Cloud Tiger's words, Lu Lanjing nodded. He understood this point in his heart. As long as Mo Qingyun was there, the Skybowl Mountain sect was not something they could provoke, unless he wanted the Qingyun Sword sect to be destroyed. While Flowing Cloud Tiger and Lu Lanjing were talking, Feng Baishan and the others were also whispering. They must be discussing not to provoke Mo Qingyun. It had to be said that the strength Mo Qingyun displayed now had frightened them. Compared to the timid people of the two sects, the people of the Prime Minister's residence all had a heavy and dark expression, especially the 3 green-robed elders. Their eyes flashed with a fierce light as they whispered to each other. Evidently, they were harboring evil intentions, wanting to find an opportunity to scheme against Mo Qingyun. Chi. When the 2 poisonous mists collided, they corroded each other, emitting bursts of ear-piercing sounds. At the same time, a terrifying black mist appeared in the air. In a short moment, a layer of black mist lingered above the Skybowl Mountain sect, like a demonic beast that could devour the sky. Seeing such a scene, everyone's expression tensed up, and a sense of fear arose in their hearts. They knew very well that if they were swallowed by the black mist, they would be corroded into ashes in the blink of an eye. While everyone was shocked, the poisonous mist outside Lu Gongming's body was gradually swallowed by the poisonous mist waves. What kind of superpower is this? It can actually control such a terrifying poisonous mist. When Lu Gongming saw that the poisonous gas around his body had dissipated, a look of shock appeared on his face. While Lu Gongming was panicking, he also received a strong blow. The fighting spirit in his heart was weakening rapidly. In the process of exchanging blows with Mo Qingyun, it could be said that he was completely crushed. Even though he had activated his divine body, he was still suppressed by Mo Qingyun. While Lu Gongming was panicking, a terrifying poisonous gas invaded his body. Being corroded by the poisonous gas, Lu Gongming immediately screamed in pain. At the same time, his skin began to turn purple, showing signs of being poisoned. Not good. Young Master Gongming has been poisoned. Let's hurry up and save him. I'll go rescue young Master Gongming. You guys go deal with that brat. Brat, how dare you hurt young Master Gongming? I think you're tired of living. Seeing Lu Gongming's situation, the three elders of the divine with Prime Minister's residence immediately showed nervous expressions. After the three of them exchanged a sentence, they split into two groups. One group went to rescue Lu Gongming, while the other went to deal with Mo Qingyun. Seeing the actions of the three elders of the divine with Prime Minister's residence, Zhou Wunan and the others trembled and became worried. Let's do it too. As soon as Zhou Wunan finished speaking, he faced the three elders of the divine with Prime Minister's residence and stopped them from dealing with Mo Qingyun. Hearing Zhou Wunan's words, Tai Shi and the others did not dare to hesitate and immediately followed behind Zhou Wunan. When Zhou Wunan and the others moved, Mo Qingyun noticed the actions of the three elders of the divine with Prime Minister's residence. Humph, since you guys want to die, I'll kill you all together. Looking at the two elders attacking him, Mo Qingyun's expression turned cold. The divine sword of 9 oxen in his hand flashed. Immediately, Mo Qingyun swung his sword at the two elders with the momentum of the autumn wind sweeping away the fallen leaves. Defense ignore. When Mo Qingyun swung his sword, he did not hold back and used defense ignore. With the support of defense ignore, the momentum of Mo Qingyun's sword immediately rose to a new level. Soon, a menacing crescent-shaped sword light arrived in front of the two elders of the divine with Prime Minister's residence. What a terrifying sword light. Let's not hold back. Don't get caught up in the battle. Just keep them occupied. Everything should be focused on rescuing young Master Gongming. Looking at the approaching sword light, the two elders exchanged a few words and used all their strength to resist the sword light's attack. As the two of them attacked, two shocking bursts of Saint Force erupted from their bodies. When the two bursts of Saint Force erupted, they turned into two aquamarine light shields and met the crescent-shaped sword light. What shocked everyone was that the crescent-shaped sword light penetrated the aquamarine light shields and directly hit the two elders. Slash! After being hit by the crescent-shaped sword light, the two elders' bodies were directly cut in half at the waist. In just one exchange, the two of them were crippled and lost the ability to continue fighting. SSS. Two mid-level, celestial, domain-grade powerhouses are actually no match for Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun's strength is really terrifying. It's already comparable to a peak celestial domain grade. This fellow is too deceitful. He's obviously pretending to be weak. The people of the divine with Prime Minister's residence are doomed this time. Mo Qingyun stepped on the 9 oxen sword and directly turned into a blur, disappearing from everyone's sight. By the time everyone saw him again, he was already in front of Lu Gongming, blocking their path. Seeing their path blocked, Lu Gongming's face immediately trembled. Fear appeared on his face. He said, Mo Qingyun, we've already paid a heavy price for our previous offense. How about we end our enmity here? It's not my style to leave something unfinished. You can go in peace. Mo Qingyun was unmoved by Lu Gongming's pleas for mercy. He swung his sword without hesitation. As Mo Qingyun swung his sword, a sharp sword shadow blasted out from the 9 oxen sword. The sword shadow was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, it hit Lu Gongming and Lu Gongming, cutting their bodies in half. After being hit by Mo Qingyun's sword, Lu Gongming's expression turned ferocious. He roared, Mo Qingyun, you'll regret killing the two of us. The divine with royal family won't let you go. Even if the divine royal family doesn't come looking for me, I'll still go looking for them. Mo Qingyun remained unmoved by Lu Gongming's words. He replied coldly, "As a result, the two of you should just give up on that thought and die under my sword." After Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he swung the 9-oxen sword again and slashed out an even sharper sword light. Then, everyone saw Lu Gongming and Lu Gongming die under the sword light. After killing Lu Gongming and the other three, Mo Qingyun went to Zhou Wunan and said, "Sect Master, elders, I'll leave these people to you." "All right." Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Zhou Wunan and the others nodded and looked at Lu Lanjing and the others. Seeing Zhou Wunan and the others looking at them, the people from the two sects smiled bitterly. They knew what was going to happen. Judging from the actions of the two sects just now, they would have to pay a price if they wanted to stay alive. After instructing Zhou Wunan, Mo Qingyun left and ignored the people from the two sections. Now, in his eyes, the people from the two sects were no longer worthy of his attention. He did not want to bother with them. He believed that with Zhou Wunan and the others' abilities, they could handle this matter well. When Mo Qingyun walked into the Skybowl Mountain sect, he raised his head and looked into the distance. He muttered to himself, "Divine royal family, it's time to settle the grudge between you and Zishu." Mo Qingyun muttered to himself. He went to the meeting hall and waited for Zhou Wunan to arrive. Chapter 26:08. Due to their fear of Mo Qingyun, the two sects had chosen to submit to the Heavenly Bull Mountain sect in order to preserve their lives. In order to prevent the previous incident from happening again, Zhou Wunan had placed a spiritual mark on the two sects when he had subdued them. These two sects weren't weak, so he wouldn't be at ease if he couldn't completely control them. After all, the Heavenly Bull Mountain sect had won this time mainly because of Mo Qingyun. They couldn't guarantee that they would be so lucky next time. Hence, it was necessary to be cautious. "Qingyun, I'm afraid your journey to the inheritance ground was very dangerous." Iron Rhino, who was sitting beside Mo Qingyun, asked Mo Qingyun with a concerned expression. Given his experience, he naturally understood that one would have to take on huge risks in order to reap huge rewards. Mo Qingyun's strength had increased greatly after entering the inheritance ground, so he must have experienced huge dangers. It was indeed very dangerous. Mo Qingyun nodded, giving a definite answer to Iron Rhino's guess. Then, Mo Qingyun started to talk about some of his experiences in the Nine-Bull Divine Continent. Of course, Mo Qingyun didn't mention the part about the Nine-Direction Divine Bull Sword technique. After all, the influence of the Nine-Direction Divine Bull Sword technique was a little too great. Mo Qingyun was certain that if news of the Nine-Direction Divine Bull Sword technique was leaked, it would definitely cause a huge commotion. If that happened, it wouldn't be a good thing for him or the Heavenly Bull sect. After a while, after listening to Mo Qingyun's narration, everyone in the hall was so shocked that they were rooted to the spot. They hadn't expected that Mo Qingyun would encounter a quasi-universe grade powerhouse in the Nine-Bull Divine Continent and escape from their clutches. This ability really made them sigh in amazement. They believed that given their own strength, they wouldn't be able to do what Mo Qingyun had done. If Iron Rhino and the others found out that Mo Qingyun had even suppressed a quasi-universe grade powerhouse, they would be shocked. Presumably, the shock in their hearts would become even more intense. "Sect Master, why don't I see Senior Tai Balong? Could it be that he has returned to the Heavenly Bull Divine Sect?" After talking about his experience, Mo Qingyun changed the topic and asked about Tai Balong's situation. His purpose in coming to the Heavenly Bull Continent had been fulfilled. It was time for him to head to the Godwood Continent. If Tai Balong left, he would have to spend a lot of effort to get to the Divine Wood Continent. Senior 8 Dragons has been cultivating recently and is currently in seclusion. When he heard Mo Qingyun's question, Zhou Wunan gave him an answer and said, "Once Senior 8 Dragons comes out of seclusion, he should be bringing you to the Heavenly Bull Divine Sect. Make some preparations in the next few days." "All right." After knowing Tai Balong's situation, Mo Qingyun nodded and let go of his worries. With Tai Balong leading the way, the journey to the heavenly bull divine sect would be much easier. After chatting with Zhou Wunan and the others for a while, Emo Qingyun took out some divine weapons and armors and threw them in front of them. He said, "Sect Master, I found these things in a secret realm in the Nine-Bull Divine Continent. They aren't of much use to me, so I'll give them to the sect. These are all galaxy-level divine weapons and armors. There are thousands of them. With these divine weapons and armors, the strength of the sect will double. I will definitely let Senior 8 Dragons report this matter to the Heavenly Bull Divine Sect. You've just returned from a long journey and just experienced a fierce battle. Quickly go back and rest." Upon seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, everyone looked at him with even more gratified gazes. Just as Lulan Jing had said, it was truly a great fortune for the Skybull Mountain sect to be able to accept Mo Qingyun. "If that's the case, I will take my leave." Mo Qingyun got up and cupped his fist before walking out of the hall. Seeing this, Zhou Wunan and the others hurriedly sent Mo Qingyun off to show how much they valued him. Not long after, in a pavilion in the Taurus Pavilion. "It's been a while since I left the Tianhan continent. I wonder how the demons are doing." Mo Qingyun calculated the time and felt a sense of worry. He was afraid that something would happen to the heavenly soul demons. No matter what, the threat of the celestial dragonstone was still there. Mo Qingyun wouldn't be at ease if he didn't get rid of it. After a moment of thought, Mo Qingyun made a decision. He summoned Shan Huaiyin and Rin Jun and said, "Rin Jun, Shan Huaiyin, there's something I need the two of you to do immediately. Please give us your orders, Master." Shan Huaiyin's expression was tense as he waited for Mo Qingyun's instructions. Under the watchful eyes of the two, Mo Qingyun took out a jade tablet and sent his consciousness into it. He sent his consciousness into it, forming a map that showed the route to the Tianhan continent. "Master, this is?" Shan Huaiyin took the jade tablet from Mo Qingyun with a puzzled expression. Mo Qingyun calmly explained to the two, "This is the map to my homeland. I've made some enemies before, and I'm worried that they'll attack my master when I'm not around. As such, I'm sending the two of you to protect my people." The two understood Mo Qingyun's meaning. They understood Mo Qingyun's meaning. Seeing that the two of them understood his intentions, Mo Qingyun explained a few more things to them before letting them set out on their journey. Mo Qingyun looked at Shan Huiyin and Xian Wei as they walked out of the courtyard. He then looked at the western courtyard and thought to himself, "Shi Wei can be considered my follower. Before I leave, I'll give them a gift." Mo Qingyun muttered to himself. He stood up and went to the western courtyard to inform them of his departure. Mo Qingyun soon arrived at the western courtyard and summoned Shi Wei and the others. It had been a while since he last saw them. Shi Wei and the others had made great progress in their cultivation. "Greetings, venerable elder." When they arrived in front of Mo Qingyun, Shi Wei and the others bowed respectfully. No need for formalities. Mo Qingyun waved his hand in response to their actions. With an easygoing attitude, he said, "I've come to find you now because I have something to tell you. I'll be leaving soon." "Venerable elder, you're leaving?" "Venerable elder, if you don't mind, we're willing to follow you." "You idiots, the venerable elder is going to the Heavenly Bull Divine Sect. Can you follow him?" Shi Wei and the others chattered merrily when they heard Mo Qingyun's words. Mo Qingyun didn't mind their behavior. Instead, he said calmly, "During this period, you've helped me manage the Golden Bull Pavilion and spent a lot of energy. Before I leave, I'll give you a gift. As for your future path, you can only rely on yourselves." After Mo Qingyun said that, he took out a large amount of cultivation resources and placed them in front of them. "These cultivation resources are enough for you to cultivate to the celestial domain grade. As for these divine weapons and treasured armors, they can help you increase your combat strength and gain a foothold among the disciples." Shi Wei and the others were stunned when they saw the items before them. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. The value of these items was really too precious. It had to be said that Mo Qingyun's current actions had frightened them quite a bit. "Venerable Elder Mo, these things are too precious. You should take them back. Yeah, given our current strength, it wouldn't be a good thing to have them. After calming themselves down, Shi Wei and the others gratefully rejected Mo Qingyun's kind intentions. Seeing the performance of Shi Wei and the others, Mo Qingyun nodded in satisfaction and praised them a little more. The fact that Shi Wei and the others were able to remain calm in the face of so many treasures showed that their mental states were pretty good. You don't have to worry. I will instruct the sect master to focus on nurturing you guys later. In order to reassure Shi Wei and the others, Mo Qingyun comforted them and let them set aside their worries. Shi Wei and the others felt slightly relieved when they heard Mo Qingyun's words. Then they put the items away. Thank you, Venerable Elder. We will remember this kindness in our hearts. After accepting the cultivation resources, Shi Wei and the others thanked him hurriedly. They were all very emotional. Then, Mo Qingyun instructed Shi Wei and the others before he got up and returned to the East Courtyard. For the next few days, everything was very calm. In these few days, Mo Qingyun went to find Zhou Wunan and told him about Shi Wei and the others. Zhou Wunan and the others attached great importance to Mo Qingyun's request and made an exception to promote Shi Wei and the others. Each of them was accepted as a personal disciple by an elder and attracted the envy of the other disciples. Everyone was very clear that the reason Shi Wei and the others could obtain such a fortuitous encounter was because of Mo Qingyun. After settling the matter with Shi Wei and the others, Mo Qingyun didn't go into seclusion to cultivate. Instead, he went to the Immortal Palace of Fortune. He wanted to use this time to guide the disciples of the Immortal Palace of Fortune and give them cultivation resources. Mo Qingyun came to the Immortal Palace of Fortune. What surprised him was that the disciples' cultivation increased very quickly. Some of the more talented disciples had already broken through to the Nebula Realm. The only thing that troubled Mo Qingyun was that the people from the Heavenly Soul Continent seemed to have stagnated in their cultivation. Mo Qingyun wasn't surprised by this. After all, their foundation was too shallow. It seems that if I don't change their aptitudes, it will be difficult for their cultivation to increase. Looking at the figures in front of him, Mo Qingyun couldn't help but sigh. He began to think of a way and thought to himself, in the endless starry sky, there are countless kinds of heaven and earth's spiritual essence. There must be treasures that can increase their aptitudes. With this thought, Mo Qingyun decided to enter the Heavenly Bull Divine sect and pay attention. Just like this, Mo Qingyun stayed in the Immortal Palace of Fortune and guided the disciples for a few days before leaving. After Mo Qingyun left the Immortal Palace of Fortune, he went to find Zhou Wunan and asked if Tai Balong had come out of seclusion. Qingyun, you're here. We were just about to look for you. As soon as he arrived at Zhou Wunan's residence, Tai Balong's face lit up with joy. He waved at Mo Qingyun and said, Wunan has already told me about you. You really didn't disappoint this old man. Seeing Tai Balong's greeting, Mo Qingyun walked over and sat down beside him. Chapter 2609. On a Flying Boat. Senior, do you know what can improve one's aptitude? Mo Qingyun sat beside Tai Balong with an expectant look on his face. When he heard Mo Qingyun's question, Tai Balong pondered for a moment before replying. There are quite a number of natural treasures that can raise one's aptitude. Due to the difference in rarity, the increase in aptitude is also different. Mo Qingyun nodded in agreement with Tai Balong's words. He was also very clear on this point. Tai Balong didn't stop talking when he saw Mo Qingyun listening patiently. For example, if the star nest saliva reaches 10,000 years, it can improve an ordinary person's aptitude and allow them to reach the heavenly immortal realm. However, using the star nest saliva to improve one's aptitude would only allow one to reach the sage realm. If you use the star nest saliva of 100 million years, the situation will be different. The limit of one's cultivation base will be the galaxy grade. Mo Qingyun frowned when he heard Tai Balong's words. His mind was racing. It seemed like things that could improve one's aptitude weren't hard to find. What was hard to find were top-grade treasures. The anticipation in Mo Qingyun's heart intensified as he thought about it. Senior, do you know of a type of spiritual object that can raise one's aptitude to the universe grade? Furthermore, it won't affect one's future cultivation. Mo Qingyun's question left Tai Balong speechless. His expression became strange. Clearly, Mo Qingyun's idea had scared him. A quasi-universe grade powerhouse could dominate a region and dominate a two-star system. If such a treasure really appeared, it would definitely cause a crazy fight. If an ordinary disciple had asked Tai Balong this question, he would have slapped the disciple. However, although he felt that it was unrealistic to ask Mo Qingyun this question, he still answered Mo Qingyun. In theory, using a treasure to improve one's aptitude will cause one's cultivation base to be shackled. This isn't absolute. However, there are no side effects after using it. I only know of one type, and that is the Rain of Time. Hearing this, Mo Qingyun's expression immediately became joyful. He revealed an intense curiosity and asked, Senior, what is this Rain of Time? What can I get it? Mo Qingyun thought to himself, if he could get his hands on a Rain of Time, he'd be able to solve the cultivation problem of the Tianhan continent. Even if he couldn't solve everyone's problems, he had to solve the cultivation problems of Yu Wuyo and the other girls. There are a total of 3 ways to obtain the Rain of Time. Tai Balong paused for a moment when he saw Mo Qingyun's reaction. Then he slowly explained, the first way is that when a universe-grade powerhouse breaks through to the Emperor realm, the Rain of Time will fall. However, the Rain of Time is extremely rare, so how could an Emperor realm powerhouse let you take it away? As for the second method, when a new universe is formed, the Rain of Time will fall. However, the probability of this happening is too small. In comparison, the third method is more reliable. You can purchase it through the Starry Sky trading firm. As for whether you can come across it, that will depend on your luck. After Tai Balong finished speaking, he glanced at Mo Qingyun meaningfully. His meaning couldn't be more obvious. He was indirectly reminding Mo Qingyun that obtaining the Rain of Time was too difficult and that he shouldn't indulge in wild fantasies. After all, the Rain of Time was a treasure that even an Emperor Realm powerhouse would cherish. Thank you for your guidance, Senior. Mo Qingyun didn't take Tai Balong's hint to heart. Instead, he cupped his hands in thanks. No matter how rare the Rain of Time was or how difficult it was to obtain it, Tai Balong still had a chance. Now that Mo Qingyun had a glimmer of hope, he wouldn't give it up easily. Seeing Mo Qingyun's attitude, Tai Balong knew that his words weren't effective. This kid has unlimited potential. His future achievements are limitless. He might even have a chance to break through to the Emperor realm. When he thought about Mo Qingyun's cultivation talent, Tai Balong's thoughts changed and he felt at ease. Due to his fixed way of thinking, he thought that Mo Qingyun was the same as him. This was why he felt that Mo Qingyun wouldn't succeed. However, when he thought about it again, given Mo Qingyun's talent and potential, he might really be able to break through to the Emperor realm. If Mo Qingyun broke through to the Emperor realm, he would be able to obtain the Rain of Time. Mo Qingyun didn't care about Tai Balong's thoughts. After pondering for a moment, he said, Senior, I still have 3 refining materials that I would like to ask you about. Refining materials? Tai Balong was curious when he heard Mo Qingyun's words. He said, Tell me, what refining materials do you want? If this old man knows, I will definitely give you some information. I want to ask about the whereabouts of the meteorite flame, the star nest fire, and the 100-million-year flame crystal. Under Tai Balong's curious gaze, Mo Qingyun listed the materials he wanted one by one. Tai Balong's eyes widened when he heard Mo Qingyun's words. He froze on the spot. It had to be said that the 3 materials Mo Qingyun had mentioned had really frightened him. Although the rarity of these 3 materials wasn't as high as the Rain of Time, they weren't too far off. The things you are asking about aren't things you can touch right now. You are biting off more than you can chew. After calming himself down, Tai Balong pretended to be displeased and reprimanded Mo Qingyun before saying, The meteorite flame is more common. Meteorite rain will sometimes fall at the intersection of two galaxies. However, without a universe-grade cultivation base, one simply can't withstand the meteorite rain. The star nest fire is hard to find. Only when a planet is exhausted will the star nest fire ignite on it. The 100 million year flame crystal seems to be in the sect. However, it will be extremely difficult for you to obtain it. The Heavenly Bull Divine sect has the 100 million year flame crystal. Mo Qingyun's eyes lit up when he heard Tai Balong's words. He was pleasantly surprised. Then, he started to ponder silently how he could obtain the 100 million year flame crystal. Tai Balong smiled bitterly when he saw Mo Qingyun's reaction. He glared at Mo Qingyun and said, "You little brat, you haven't even entered the Heavenly Bull Divine sect, yet you are already coveting the treasures of the Heavenly Bull Divine sect. This behavior is unacceptable." Hee hee. Mo Qingyun chuckled when he realized that Tai Balong had seen through his intentions. However, he didn't mind. Based on Tai Balong's tone, he could obtain the 100 million year flame crystal as long as he met certain conditions. After reprimanding Mo Qingyun, Tai Balong rubbed his chin and pondered for a while before saying, "Regarding the 100 million year flame crystal, this old man will help you think of a way to obtain it when I return to the sect." "Thank you, Senior." Mo Qingyun's face lit up when he heard Tai Balong's words. He immediately cupped his hands and thanked Tai Balong. Mo Qingyun's doubts had been resolved by Tai Balong, so he didn't ask any more questions. On the other hand, Tai Balong explained the rules of the Heavenly Bull Divine sect to Mo Qingyun in detail. At this moment, while Mo Qingyun and Tai Balong were talking, a blood-red airship appeared in front of them. He saw a huge blood shadow standing on top of the flying ship, giving off a very dangerous feeling. These guys from the Blood Soul Galaxy are getting more and more arrogant. They actually dare to come to the Wood Source Galaxy. Tai Balong's face darkened when he saw the airship blocking their path. He was furious. While Tai Balong was fuming, the airship quickly approached and stopped not far away from Mo Qingyun and Tai Balong. Then, a familiar figure entered Mo Qingyun's line of sight. "It's him." Mo Qingyun was shocked when he saw the transparent blood-red figure on the airship. He had never imagined that the Blood Shadow Remnant consciousness would appear here and mingle with the people from the Blood Soul Galaxy. Based on the current situation, the Blood Shadow Remnant consciousness seemed to have an extremely high status in the Blood Soul Galaxy. Peak Celestial Domain Grade. Mo Qingyun was shocked when he sensed the aura of the Blood Shadow Remnant consciousness. He felt a lingering fear in his heart. He had never imagined that the Blood Shadow Remnant consciousness's cultivation base would rise to such a level in such a short period of time. It was no wonder that this fellow possessed the memories of the powerhouse from the dark heavenly sacred sect. His cultivation speed was really terrifying. Fortunately, his strength had increased greatly in the Nine-Bull Divine Continent. Otherwise, he would have been in danger. Peak Celestial Domain Grade. Tai Balong's expression turned grave when he sensed the aura of the Blood Shadow Remnant consciousness. Although he had improved his cultivation base during this period of seclusion, he still couldn't match a Peak Celestial Domain Grade. Tai Balong took out a purple token and handed it to Mo Qingyun. "Kid, this is my identity token. I will hand it over to you now. I will stop these people while you think of a way to escape and enter the Heavenly Bull Divine sect alone." Senior, actually, hearing Tai Balong's words, Mo Qingyun wanted to tell him that he could handle it. However, before Mo Qingyun could speak, Tai Balong pushed him aside and shouted, "Don't dawdle. Do as I say." Mo Qingyun clenched his teeth when he heard Tai Balong's words. However, he didn't say anything else. Then, Mo Qingyun's figure moved, and he left the airship. He had sensed that the Blood Shadow Remnant consciousness was the only Peak Celestial Domain Grade among the people from the Blood Soul Galaxy. As long as he lured the Blood Shadow Remnant consciousness away, the others wouldn't be able to do anything to Tai Balong. It wouldn't be difficult for Tai Balong to protect himself. "Kid, don't even think about escaping this time." Hand over your physical body obediently. The blood shadow remnant consciousness grinned when he saw that Mo Qingyun was about to escape. Then, he chased after Mo Qingyun. Tai Balong shuddered when he saw the blood shadow remnant consciousness chasing after Mo Qingyun. That peak celestial domain-grade powerhouse is actually here for Mo Qingyun. Things aren't looking good now. Tai Balong muttered to himself. He immediately chased after the blood shadow remnant consciousness anxiously. In his opinion, if he didn't stop the blood shadow remnant consciousness, Mo Qingyun would definitely be killed. Upon seeing Tai Balong's actions, the powerhouses of the Blood Soul Galaxy immediately saw through his intentions. Chapter 26:10. Not long after, the experts of the Blood Soul Galaxy blocked Tai Balong's path. Tai Balong's face darkened when he saw that his path was blocked. He knew that these guys were blocking him so that the Blood Shadow Remnant consciousness could deal with Mo Qingyun. He would not let them succeed, even if he had to risk his life. You guys, get out of my way. Looking at the people blocking his way, Tai Balong roared and attacked them. The experts of the Blood Soul Galaxy sneered when they saw Tai Balong's performance. In their opinion, they would have achieved their goal as long as they could stop Tai Balong. Then, Tai Balong and the experts of the Blood Soul Galaxy engaged in a fierce battle. There were too many of them. Although Tai Balong fought with all his might, he could not break through the encirclement. Tai Balong is blocked by those people. I don't have to worry about exposing my strength. Mo Qingyun's worries disappeared when he saw that Tai Balong did not chase after him. Without Tai Balong by his side, he could use his full strength to fight against the Blood Shadow Remnant consciousness. Just as Mo Qingyun let go of his worries, he also had some worries. He frowned slightly and said to himself, Tai Balong is surrounded. If he continues to fight to the death, the situation will not be good for him. Mo Qingyun was worried when he thought about Tai Balong's situation. He immediately summoned Luo Jian and said, Luo Jian, go and help Tai Balong to break away from the encirclement of the Blood Soul Galaxy. Yes, Luo Jian responded and flew towards Tai Balong after hearing Mo Qingyun's instructions. Mo Qingyun's worries were completely relieved when he ordered Luo Jian to help Tai Balong. With Luo Jian's strength, rescuing Tai Balong was not a problem. Although the Blood Shadow Remnant consciousness noticed Luo Jian's appearance, he did not care. In his opinion, it had nothing to do with him as long as it did not obstruct him from killing Mo Qingyun. I should find a quiet place to deal with the Blood Shadow Remnant consciousness. With this thought in mind, Mo Qingyun increased his flying speed and looked for a place where he could fight. Mo Qingyun's flying speed increased, and the distance between him and the Blood Shadow Remnant consciousness widened once again. You're flying too slow. You won't be able to catch up to me. Looking at the Blood Shadow Remnant thought behind him, a faint smile appeared on Mo Qingyun's face as he provoked him. Being provoked by Mo Qingyun, the Blood Shadow Remnant spirit was immediately enraged and increased its flying speed. Subsequently, the distance between Mo Qingyun and the Blood Shadow Remnant thought reached a balance. Of course, this was done intentionally by Mo Qingyun. Otherwise, he would have shaken off the Blood Shadow Remnant thought long ago. Not long after. Under Mo Qingyun's extreme speed, he flew to an uninhabited planet and waited for the arrival of the Blood Shadow Remnant thought. Since they had met today, it was time to settle the score between him and the Blood Shadow Remnant consciousness. Under Mo Qingyun's gaze, the Blood Shadow Remnant thought approached rapidly and soon arrived on the uninhabited planet. Boy, why don't you continue to run? Could it be that you can't run anymore? As soon as the Blood Shadow Remnant thought arrived on the uninhabited planet, a sneer appeared at the corner of his mouth as he mocked Mo Qingyun. Hearing the Blood Shadow Remnant thought's words, Mo Qingyun also laughed and said, Run? Why should I run? You took the initiative to seek death, which can save me a lot of trouble. Why should I refuse? Boy, I haven't seen you for a while, but your courage has grown. Seeing Mo Qingyun's performance, the blood shadow remnant thought's face darkened and emitted a strong anger. In his memory, when Mo Qingyun saw him before, it was like a mouse seeing a cat. Now, Mo Qingyun stood in front of him. Not only did he not run away, but he also provoked him. This kind of thing was a little unacceptable to him. If that's the case, let me see how much progress you made recently. After the blood shadow remnant thought's words, he pointed at his glabella and released a dazzling black light. Soon, a black light gate with an imposing aura flew out from the glabella of the blood shadow remnant thought. Great dark sun devouring gate. The black light gate flew out and shrouded Mo Qingyun, releasing a terrifying devouring power. Seeing the black light gate coming, Mo Qingyun's expression changed greatly, and he grasped the void with his right hand. Then, a long sword that emitted 9-colored light appeared in his hand. Light shadow thrust. Mo Qingyun waved the 9-bull divine sword and released a dazzling silver light, piercing out a sharp sword shadow. The sword shadow flew out from the 9-bull divine sword and collided violently with the black light gate. Puff! Facing the fierce attack of the sword shadow, the black light gate instantly collapsed and quickly collapsed in midair. Seeing that the black light gate was destroyed, the blood shadow remnant thought was shocked. He looked at Mo Qingyun in surprise and said, "I haven't seen him for a while. This kid's strength has increased to such a level." This discovery really frightened the blood shadow remnant thought. He immediately looked at Mo Qingyun. He had already seen that Mo Qingyun now had the strength to contend with him. In this way, he could not underestimate his opponent anymore, lest he fail miserably. This time, I must capture and kill this kid. Otherwise, it will be more difficult to deal with him. Seeing Mo Qingyun's growth speed, the blood shadow remnant thought's killing intent towards him immediately became stronger. He knew very well that if he allowed Mo Qingyun to grow for another year or so, he would not be able to do anything to Mo Qingyun. With the increase in his killing intent towards Mo Qingyun, the blood shadow remnant thought attacked Mo Qingyun again. Dark Death Gate. A sinister, cold sacred power erupted from the blood shadow remnant thought's body and condensed into a huge black gate. When this black gate was formed, it emitted a terrifying aura, as if it were a demon from the absolute primordial era. Dong, dong, dong. Heavy footsteps could be heard coming from the black door of light. It was as if a demon god was slowly approaching. Seeing this situation, Mo Qingyun's expression trembled, and he became extremely vigilant. He could sense that this mystic ability of the blood shadow remnant thought was extremely powerful and terrifying. As Mo Qingyun watched nervously, a huge black figure walked out of the black gate. The blood shadow remnant thought laughed proudly when he saw the black figure appear. "Kid, although I can only summon a half-step universe demon celestial due to my cultivation base, it should be enough to deal with you. I hope you like this opponent." Half-step universe grade. Mo Qingyun's expression turned even more solemn when he sensed the aura of the demon celestial. He had a feeling that this demon celestial would be even more difficult to deal with than Chuchun. Dong, dong, dong. What terrified Mo Qingyun was that after this demon celestial appeared, another voice was heard from within the black gate. This meant that another demon celestial was coming out of the black gate. One demon celestial was already a headache for him. If another demon celestial appeared, he would have to flee with his tail between his legs. When Mo Qingyun realized this, he started thinking about how to resolve this situation. The only way to stop this mystic ability is to kill the blood shadow remnant thought. Mo Qingyun immediately made a decision. He took the initiative to charge towards the blood shadow remnant thought. In his opinion, this demon celestial was nothing to worry about as long as he dealt with the blood shadow remnant thought. Mo Qingyun's figure moved. He stepped on the 9-bull divine sword and arrived in front of the blood shadow remnant thought. Raging bull bursting flame cleave. It ignored defense. In order to end this battle as soon as possible, Mo Qingyun didn't hold back. As Mo Qingyun swung his sword, a flaming sword ray slashed out from the 9-bolt divine sword. What a powerful aura! Sensing the power of Mo Qingyun's sword, the Blood Shadow Remnant thought was shocked. The shock on his face deepened. Then, he ordered the Grand Primordium Demon God to block the attack for him. Under the command of the Blood Shadow Remnant thought, the Demon Celestial took a large stride and arrived in front of the Blood Shadow Remnant thought. Then, the Primordial Demon God threw a punch at the surging sword light. Poof! Facing the flaming sword ray, the Demon Celestial's fist was instantly disintegrated. After breaking the Demon Celestial's fist, the flaming sword ray's attack didn't diminish. It continued to attack the Blood Shadow Remnant thought. Seeing this, the Blood Shadow Remnant thought was immediately shocked. Panic appeared on his face. He really didn't expect that the Demon Celestial wouldn't be able to block Mo Qingyun's sword. Space penetration. Although the Blood Shadow Remnant thought was panicking, he wasn't an ordinary person after all. He immediately dissolved the flaming sword ray's attack. The Blood Shadow Remnant thought blasted out a palm, and a mysterious power erupted from his palm. Following the explosion of this power, the space in front of him began to tremble slightly. Then, Mo Qingyun saw the flaming sword ray disappear in front of the Blood Shadow Remnant thought. Disappeared? Seeing this, Mo Qingyun was shocked. He immediately guessed the reason and thought to himself, I didn't expect the Blood Shadow Remnant thought to comprehend the space order too. Moreover, his comprehension is even more thorough than Chu Chen's. This will be difficult to deal with. Although Mo Qingyun was shocked, he wasn't surprised. After all, the Blood Shadow Remnant thought's origin wasn't comparable to Chu Chen's. He had the memories of the Darkness Heaven Holy Clan's expert. It was normal for him to comprehend the space order. This guy has the memories of the Darkness Heaven Holy Clan's expert. His cultivation speed is too fast. I can't let him continue to grow. Thinking of the situation of the Blood Shadow Remnant thought, Mo Qingyun's murderous intent towards him immediately became stronger. Mo Qingyun had already seen the power of the space order. If he was allowed to comprehend the space order, the consequences would be unimaginable. He had to kill him in the cradle. Mo Qingyun didn't dare to guarantee that the Blood Shadow Remnant thought wouldn't obtain a new trump card after comprehending the space order. Hence, to avoid any other unforeseen events, it was better to kill him first. With a strong murderous intent, Mo Qingyun moved and took the initiative to attack the Blood Shadow Remnant thought. Seeing Mo Qingyun take the initiative to attack, the Blood Shadow Remnant thought grinned. The coldness in his eyes intensified. Chapter 26:11. Sun Bull Deity Vanquishing Sword Formation. Mo Qingyun came before the Blood Shadow Remnant thought. He gathered a surge of saint power and poured it into the Divine Nine Bulls sword. With the infusion of saint power, the Divine Nine Bulls sword immediately shone brightly like the bright moon in the sky. Then, one by one, giant silver bulls flew out from the Divine Nine Bulls mountain. When these giant silver bulls appeared, they turned into the base of the formation and formed a sword formation with an imposing aura. When the sword formation was formed, it exuded a strong and majestic aura, suppressing the power of the Blood Shadow Remnant thought. Immediately, the aura emitted by the Blood Shadow Remnant consciousness weakened a little. I didn't expect the Sun Bull Deity Vanquishing Sword Formation to be able to suppress the power of the Blood Shadow Remnant thought. Sensing the weakening of the Blood Shadow Remnant thought's aura, Mo Qingyun was surprised. He thought to himself, this way, it will be easier to deal with the Blood Shadow Remnant thought. Originally, Mo Qingyun wanted to use the Sun Bull Deity Vanquishing Sword Formation to trap the Blood Shadow Remnant thought. As for suppressing the power of the Blood Shadow Remnant thought, it was an unexpected gain. What a powerful sword technique. What kind of fortuitous encounter did this kid have recently? Seeing the power of the Sun Bull Deity Vanquishing Sword Formation, the Blood Shadow Remnant thought was shocked. Mo Qingyun's performance today was beyond his expectations and caught him off guard. If it was not for the fact that his strength had improved tremendously during this time, he might have failed miserably. Kid, I admit that I underestimated you before, but it's time to end the battle. Realizing Mo Qingyun's strength, the blood shadow remnant thought stopped underestimating him and began to treat Mo Qingyun seriously. In his opinion, the current Mo Qingyun was qualified to be his enemy. Little dark devouring sun gate. Space penetration. As the blood shadow remnant thought finished speaking, he pointed at his glabella and exuded a sharp aura. Then, a small black light gate blasted out from the glabella of the blood shadow remnant thought. As soon as the door of black light flew out, it disappeared from Mo Qingyun's perception in a flash. This is bad. He used his spatial power to move and conceal the black gate. Seeing that the black door of light had disappeared, Mo Qingyun was shocked, and a strong sense of uneasiness rose in his heart. While Mo Qingyun was still in shock, a terrifying, devouring force suddenly appeared in his body. When this feeling appeared, Mo Qingyun trembled in fright. A trace of blood leaked out from the corner of his mouth. He exclaimed, "What a terrifying law of space! It actually directly transferred the divine ability into my body." Knowing his situation, Mo Qingyun immediately tore open his chest and forced the door of black light out. Under such circumstances, if he hesitated at all, he might be directly devoured to death. Of course, the reason Mo Qingyun could be so decisive was because of his Genesis Darkness Fortune bloodline's recovery ability. What a decisive brat! Seeing Mo Qingyun's action, the blood shadow remnant thought's expression trembled, and a sense of shock arose in its heart. He believed that if he encountered such a situation, he would never be as decisive as Mo Qingyun. The more the blood shadow remnant thought of this, the more his killing intent towards Mo Qingyun became. He said, "With this brat's temperament, if he grows up, he'll definitely be a big nightmare for me. Brat, I'd like to see how many times you can block my attacks." As the blood shadow remnant thought's words fell, he attacked again and pointed at his glabella. Then, another black light gate appeared and disappeared from Mo Qingyun's perception. Humph! How can I let you use the same method twice? Seeing the blood shadow remnant thought's action, Mo Qingyun's face darkened, and a purple cloak of light appeared around his body. When the purple cloak of light appeared, a terrifying, devouring force appeared in Mo Qingyun's body. This time, Mo Qingyun did not force the black light gate out. Instead, he forcefully resisted it. Puff! When Mo Qingyun resisted the attack of the black light gate, the blood shadow remnant thought spat out a mouthful of blood, and a look of shock appeared on his face. He realized that at this moment, his body was also being absorbed by a devouring force. This situation was a little too terrifying for him. Currently, his body was not in a complete state, so he could not bear this kind of consumption. Immediately, the blood shadow remnant thought withdrew his superpower and gave up on attacking Mo Qingyun. He really did not expect that Mo Qingyun had such a trump card. The blood shadow remnant thought has given up on attacking. Sensing the situation in his body, Mo Qingyun's expression immediately became joyful. A smirk appeared on his face as he said, "Since you've given up on attacking, then I won't hold back." As soon as Mo Qingyun's words fell, he madly waved the divine sword of Nine Bull and slashed out one sword light after another. Facing the attacks of the sword light, the blood shadow remnant thought immediately panicked and fell into a dangerous situation. The sword light that Mo Qingyun slashed out could actually ignore his defense, which made him feel extremely distressed. "I can't continue like this. I have to leave this place immediately. Otherwise, I'll be exhausted to death by this kid." Seeing his situation, the blood shadow remnant thought's expression turned cold. The battle intent in his heart decreased sharply as he said, "I was careless this time and underestimated this kid's strength. I definitely won't make such a mistake next time." Thinking of this, the blood shadow remnant thought no longer hesitated and raised his hand to blast forward. Then, a mysterious space power blasted out from his palm. The space power appeared, and a simplified teleportation gate appeared in front of the Blood Shadow Remnant thought. Want to leave? It's not that easy. Seeing the Blood Shadow Remnant thought's action, Mo Qingyun knew what he was thinking and immediately slashed at him with his sword. A sword light as violent as a dragon blasted out from the divine Sword of Nine Bull. The sword light was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, it was behind the Blood Shadow Remnant thought and blasted toward his head. Seeing the incoming sword light, the Blood Shadow Remnant thought's expression trembled and immediately tilted to the side. Then, the sword light that was aimed at his head was narrowly avoided. Pucci. Although the Blood Shadow Remnant thought avoided his head, he couldn't avoid his shoulder and directly slashed the sword light. Then, half of the Blood Shadow Remnant thought's body was chopped off by Mo Qingyun's sword. Kid, just you wait. I'll remember this. Although half of his body was chopped off, the Blood Shadow Remnant thought didn't dare to hesitate and immediately walked out of the teleportation gate. As soon as the Blood Shadow Remnant thought finished speaking, his body disappeared and escaped through the teleportation gate. Mo Qingyun felt a little helpless about this result. It was a pity that he couldn't kill the Blood Shadow Remnant thought. This time, the Blood Shadow Remnant thought had raised his vigilance. It would be difficult to kill him next time. While Mo Qingyun sighed in his heart, he picked up half of the Blood Shadow Remnant thought's body and threw it into the Fortune mainland. This half of the Blood Shadow Remnant thought contained the bloodline of the Dark Heaven's Holy Gate. He couldn't just throw it away. Chapter 26:12. By relying on his connection with Luo Jian's mind consciousness, Mo Qingyun quickly found them. With Luo Jian's help, Tai Balong had managed to escape successfully. However, he had also suffered some minor injuries. Mo Qingyun's arrival immediately attracted the attention of the two of them, who were both shocked. What shocked Luo Jian the most was that Mo Qingyun had actually suffered such serious injuries while fighting the Blood Shadow Remnant consciousness. He could sense that the Blood Shadow Remnant consciousness cultivation base wasn't very high. It was only at the peak celestial domain grade. This cultivation base was much lower than Chu Chen's in the underworld sacred city. He had never expected that the Blood Shadow Remnant consciousness would actually be able to injure Mo Qingyun so badly. This was really unexpected. Back in the underworld sacred city, Mo Qingyun hadn't even suffered such serious injuries when he had fought with Chu Chun. In contrast to Luo Jian's shock, Tai Balong was pleasantly surprised when he saw Mo Qingyun arrive. He had never imagined that Mo Qingyun would actually be able to escape the pursuit of the Blood Shadow Remnant consciousness. Although Mo Qingyun seemed to have suffered serious injuries, it was enough that he was still alive. Qingyun, your injuries are very serious. Hurry up and sit down to recuperate. Upon seeing Mo Qingyun arrive, Tai Balong immediately went over and helped Mo Qingyun to the side. Mo Qingyun didn't reject Tai Balong's suggestion. He immediately sat down in a lotus position. Thanks to the recovery of the absolute beginning Dark Fortune bloodline, his injuries had improved a little. However, they were still very serious. As Mo Qingyun entered a state of cultivation, Luo Jian and Tai Balong braced themselves and stood guard beside him. As for the injuries on Tai Balong's body, he ignored them as if nothing had happened. In his opinion, the most important thing right now was to protect Mo Qingyun while he recuperated. Everything else could be discussed later. Time passed slowly as Mo Qingyun cultivated. About a day later, Mo Qingyun's aura gradually stabilized. His injuries had basically recovered. Seeing that Mo Qingyun's injuries had recovered, Tai Balong's expression relaxed. He revealed a joyful smile and asked, Qingyun, how did you escape from that person's pursuit? Hearing Tai Balong's question, Luo Jian was also curious. Of course, what Luo Jian was curious about was how Mo Qingyun was injured so badly. As the two of them watched him, Mo Qingyun sorted out his thoughts and said, when he was chasing me, he accidentally entered an ancient taboo. This taboo greatly suppresses celestial domain-grade martialists, so I was lucky enough to escape. However, that forbidden area is extremely dangerous. I paid a huge price in the process of escaping. So that's how it is. Taiba Long did not doubt Mo Qingyun's explanation. He nodded and said, "Although you paid a price, it's good that you were able to escape." Compared to Taiba Long, Luo Jian's eyes flickered. He didn't believe Mo Qingyun's words. Based on his understanding of Mo Qingyun, things couldn't be that simple if Mo Qingyun had been injured so badly. However, since Mo Qingyun wasn't willing to talk about it, Luo Jian didn't ask. This wasn't important to him. "Brother Luo, thank you so much. If you hadn't come to my rescue, I'm afraid that I would have been in deep trouble." Taiba Long thanked Luo Jian when he saw that Mo Qingyun was fine. He still felt a lingering fear. If Luo Jian hadn't appeared in time, he would have been besieged by the Blood Soul Galaxy's martialists. "Brother Tai, there's no need to be so polite. It was just a small matter." Luo Jian smiled and waved his hand at Tai Ba Long's gratitude, saying, "Since you're all fine, this one will take his leave." Luo Jian's figure flickered, disappearing from Tai Ba Long's perception. Watching Luo Jian's action, Tai Ba Long was stunned, and a trace of shock flickered in his eyes. Luo Jian's method had stunned him. He admitted that he couldn't do the same. Little did he know that Luo Jian's sudden disappearance was because he had been sent to the Fortune mainland. If Tai Ba Long knew that Luo Jian was Mo Qingyun's servant, he would be even more shocked. "Senior, to avoid any more accidents, let's continue on our way." After sending Luo Jian to the Fortune mainland, Mo Qingyun didn't want to delay any further. So he suggested to Tai Ba Long. Hearing Mo Qingyun's suggestion, Tai Ba Long's face tightened. He immediately took out the flying boat and continued on their way. He was worried that the Blood Soul Galaxy's martialists would catch up and besiege them again. "Senior, your injuries haven't healed yet. Let me control the flying boat." Mo Qingyun entered the flying boat and said to Tai Ba Long, then took the initiative to control the flying boat. Tai Ba Long didn't refuse Mo Qingyun's suggestion. He sat down cross-legged and began to heal his injuries. Although his injuries weren't serious, it wasn't good for him to carry on like this. It was better for him to recover as soon as possible. He had suppressed his injuries because he was worried about Mo Qingyun, but now he couldn't delay any longer. Subsequently, Mo Qingyun controlled the flying boat, heading towards the heavenly Bull Divine sect at a steady pace. The rest of the journey was smooth sailing, and they didn't encounter any danger. 3 days later, Tai Ba Long's injuries had healed, and he withdrew from his cultivation to replace Mo Qingyun in controlling the flying boat. Mo Qingyun didn't refuse Tai Ba Long's request. He walked to the side and immersed himself in cultivation. The confrontation with the Blood Shadow Remnant consciousness this time had made him realize how terrifying and powerful the spatial laws were. The Blood Shadow Remnant consciousness and Chu Chen's comprehension of the spatial laws had only just begun. If Mo Qingyun had been up against a universe-grade powerhouse with a thorough comprehension of the spatial laws, he would have been doomed. Besides, luck had played a huge role in forcing the Blood Shadow Remnant consciousness to retreat. The Blood Shadow Remnant consciousness's physique wasn't perfect, so he couldn't withstand a huge attack. Thus, he hadn't dared to fight Mo Qingyun head-on. If it had been anyone else, they would have been able to fight Mo Qingyun head-on, but Mo Qingyun wouldn't have been able to. Although the nebulous sacred robe could reflect damage, it was only a part of it. In this battle of attrition, the damage Mo Qingyun suffered was far greater than his opponent's. "It seems like I'll definitely die if I encounter a universe-grade powerhouse now." As Mo Qingyun thought about it, he had a clear understanding of his own strength. As he thought of this, he felt a strong pressure, and he felt that he was weak. Based on the performance of Chu Chun and the Blood Shadow Remnant consciousness, there seem to be many different types of spatial laws. They aren't fixed. Mo Qingyun's understanding of the spatial laws immediately increased when he recalled some of the previous exchanges. As his understanding of the law of space increased, a bold idea suddenly appeared in Mo Qingyun's mind. He thought to himself, if I can comprehend the law of space, then I won't be restrained when fighting Blood Shadow Remnant Will and the others. Mo Qingyun couldn't wait to try comprehending the spatial laws as soon as this idea popped into his head. In his opinion, even if he couldn't completely comprehend the spatial laws, as long as he could comprehend some superficial knowledge, he would have an additional trump card. A few days later, Qingyun, we have arrived at the Heavenly Bull Divine Sect. Tai Balong's voice was transmitted to Mo Qingyun's ears, prompting him to withdraw from his cultivation. Mo Qingyun withdrew from his cultivation and revealed a regretful expression. He sighed inwardly. The mysteries of the space laws are far more complex than I imagined. At my current level, comprehending them is as difficult as ascending to the heavens. He had tried his best over the past few days, but he was still at his wit's end. Mo Qingyun sighed and nodded at Tai Balong before exiting the spaceship together. After exiting the spaceship, a huge bull-shaped mountain range entered Mo Qingyun's line of sight. The territory of the Heavenly Bull Divine Sect was like a huge bull lying on the ground. It was majestic and spectacular. Let's go in. Tai Balong stood at the entrance of the Heavenly Bull Divine Sect for a while before walking in. Upon seeing Tai Balong enter the sect, Mo Qingyun hurriedly followed him and walked up a huge stone staircase. This stone staircase was located at the end of the bull-shaped mountain range, resembling the tail of a huge bull. Soon, under Tai Balong's guidance, Mo Qingyun arrived at the center of the mountain range. This is the residence for inner disciples. You will be staying here in the future. Standing in the center of the mountain range, Tai Balong stopped and introduced to Mo Qingyun. However, with your talent and potential, you will pass the core disciple assessment very soon. You will only be staying here for a short period of time. Of course, if an elder is willing to accept you as a disciple, you can become a true disciple directly. Understand? After listening to Tai Balong's explanation, Mo Qingyun nodded his head in understanding. He didn't particularly care about his identity. He was only here to pass the time. Once he familiarized himself with the Divine Wood mainland and learned about the Divine Wood Imperial family's strength, he would settle the score with them. At that time, he would leave the Heavenly Bull Divine Sect and establish his own sect. After all, the disciples of the Fortune Immortal Palace couldn't stay on the Fortune mainland forever. They needed to go out and gain experience. Let's go. I'll take you to the inner sect deacon to get your disciple identity token. After introducing the environment to Mo Qingyun, Tai Balong continued to walk forward and arrived at a majestic hall. Inside the hall, there were many disciples coming and going as if they were handing over various sect missions. Oh, isn't this Elder Tai Balong? I heard you went to the Heavenly Bull Mountain sect. Not long after Mo Qingyun and Tai Balong entered the hall, an old man holding an abacus walked over with a smirk on his face. Behind the old man were three young men with arrogant expressions. They seemed to have just arrived at the Heavenly Bull Divine Sect. The three young men's strength wasn't high. Two of them were peak galaxy realm, and the last one was a quasi-celestial domain realm. Mo Qingyun glanced at them for a moment before retracting his gaze. He had lost interest in them. Mo Qingyun had lost interest in them, but the three of them were interested in Mo Qingyun. Each of them looked at him provocatively. So it's Elder Jiangmu. You've returned from the Heavenly Bull Sea sect. Tai Balong responded to the old man with the abacus and didn't say anything else. Seeing Tai Balong's attitude, Mo Qingyun immediately understood that the two of them didn't have a good relationship. Chapter 26:13. Elder Tai Balong, is this the disciple you specially went to the Sky Bull Mountain sect to receive? Jiangmu glanced at Mo Qingyun before looking at the three youths beside him. Only then did he reveal a mocking expression and said, I originally thought that the disciple you specially received would be such an outstanding prodigy. Now, it seems like there's nothing special about him. He's only at the peak galaxy grade. Tai Balong's face turned ugly when he heard Jiang Mu's words. His eyes were filled with anger. Jiang Mu was unmoved by Tai Balong's anger. He pointed at the three young men beside him and said, "If a peak galaxy-grade disciple had to go through so much trouble to make a trip, wouldn't I have to make 3 trips? Jiang Mu, don't involve others in the conflict between us." Faced with Jiang Mu's repeated provocations, Tai Balong was finally enraged. He loudly reprimanded Jiang Mu and said, "Also, let me remind you, disaster comes from mouth. Don't mock and ridicule others for no reason, lest you bring disaster upon yourself." Trouble? Just him. Jiang Mu glanced at Mo Qingyun with a disdainful expression. Obviously, he didn't think that Mo Qingyun could pose a threat to him. Seeing Jiang Mu's behavior, Mo Qingyun's eyes flashed with disgust. He turned to Tai Balong and said, "Senior, why are you bickering with a mad dog? Let's go get our identity cards." As soon as Mo Qingyun finished speaking, he turned around and ignored Jiang Mu and the other 3. "Haha, you're right. There's no need to bicker with a mad dog." Tai Balong laughed heartily when he heard Mo Qingyun's words and left with Mo Qingyun. Jiang Mu was immediately enraged when he heard Mo Qingyun insult him. He raised his hand and grabbed towards Mo Qingyun as he shouted, "What a disrespectful kid. Looks like you've been spoiled and indulged too much in the Sky Bull Mountain sect, to the extent that you don't know how to respect your seniors. Now, let me teach you how to behave and let you know the rules of the Sky Bull Mountain sect." As Jiang Mu made his move, a terrifying saint power blasted out from his palm. Sensing Jiang Mu's aura, Tai Balong immediately turned around and glared at Jiang Mu. "Jiang Mu, you're the one who doesn't understand the rules. Have you forgotten that no violence is allowed in the miscellaneous hall?" Tai Balong furiously roared. He also released a burst of saint power towards Jiang Mu. Sensing Tai Balong's actions, the miscellaneous palace's palace master's figure flashed and appeared beside them. When the miscellaneous hall master came closer, he sent out a palm strike to stop Tai Balong and the other person. Looking at the two of them, the junk hall's hall master had a cold expression and said unhappily, "The two of you, fighting is prohibited in the junk hall. Please don't make things difficult for me." "So it's Palace Master Hua. I was too impulsive just now. I hope you don't take offense." In response to the miscellaneous hall master's reprimand, Tai Balong showed an apologetic expression and cupped his hands at him. Seeing Tai Balong's actions, Palace Master Huan nodded, and his expression softened a little. While Tai Balong was apologizing, Mo Qingyun's expression changed. "The power of space laws. I didn't expect the Palace Master in charge of the miscellaneous hall to actually comprehend space laws. I wonder if he has broken through to the universe grade?" When Mo Qingyun noticed this, the way he looked at Palace Master Hua changed drastically. Sensing Mo Qingyun's gaze, Palace Master Hua turned his head and looked at him in surprise. "This little fellow is rather interesting." Palace Master Hua looked at Mo Qingyun meaningfully and couldn't help but sigh inwardly. Soon after, he looked towards Jiang Mu, a trace of displeasure surfacing in his eyes as he said, "Elder Jiang Mu, is it because once a person gets old, they will give off the impression that they are useless to the point that they will not take them seriously?" "Humph." Jiang Mu snorted when he heard Palace Master Hua's sarcasm and left immediately. Seeing Jiang Mu's reaction, Tai Balong's expression immediately turned unpleasant as he said, "This Jiang Mu is getting more and more presumptuous. He thinks he can act arrogantly in the sect just because he recruited a few genius disciples. He's just a petty person intoxicated by his success. There's no need to pay attention to him." Palace Master Hua waved his hand indifferently when he heard Tai Balong's displeased words. He pointed at Mo Qingyun and said, "Elder Tai Balong, this little fellow you recruited is not simple at all." Tai Balong smiled when he heard Palace Master Hua mention Mo Qingyun. "Palace Master Hua, this is Mo Qingyun. I specially went to the Heavenly Bull Mountains sect to recruit him. Please register his identity. Come with me." Palace Master Hua glanced at Mo Qingyun before turning around to register Mo Qingyun's identity. It wasn't long before Home Master Hua withdrew a silver badge and passed it to Mo Qingyun. He said, "This is the identity badge of an inner core disciple. Refine and absorb it, and you'll be a disciple of the divine heavenly bull sect in the future." Yes, Mo Qingyun nodded and accepted the bullhead badge. After handing the badge to Mo Qingyun, Palace Master Hua frowned and said, "Jiang Mu is narrow-minded. I'm afraid he will bear a grudge against you for mocking him just now. You have to be careful in the future." "Thank you for the reminder, Palace Master Hua. I will take note." Mo Qingyun thanked him but didn't take it to heart. Jiang Mu's cultivation base was only at the peak celestial domain grade, and he hadn't comprehended any spatial laws. Given his strength, it wouldn't be difficult for Mo Qingyun to deal with him. Mo Qingyun was certain that Jiang Mu hadn't comprehended any spatial laws. Given Jiang Mu's temperament, he wouldn't have tolerated Tai Balong if he had comprehended any spatial laws. The reason for this was that Jiang Mu wasn't strong enough to deal with Tai Balong. "Palace Master Hua, since this matter has been settled, we will take our leave." After registering Mo Qingyun's identity, Tai Balong cupped his hands and led Mo Qingyun away. Palace Master Hua's eyes lit up as he watched Mo Qingyun walk away. Young fellas nowadays aren't simple at all. They have just joined the sect, yet they are already at the peak celestial domain grade. It seems like we are really old and can't adapt to this era. Palace Lord Hua sighed. He left the miscellaneous hall and entered a secret chamber. After coming out of the miscellaneous hall, Tai Balong put on a solemn expression and told Mo Qingyun, "Qingyun, Palace Master Hua has a special status in the divine heavenly bull sect. He has the highest seniority in the sect. Try not to provoke him in the future. Otherwise, even the sect master won't be able to save you." "I got it." Mo Qingyun was bewildered when he heard Tai Balong's reminder. He had never imagined that Palace Master Hua would have such a high seniority in the divine heavenly bull sect. As for provoking Palace Master Hua, Mo Qingyun had never thought of it. A powerhouse who had comprehended the laws of space. Unless he had no other choice, Mo Qingyun wouldn't provoke him. Tai Balong led Mo Qingyun to the residence of the inner sect disciples. Inner sect disciples already had a certain status in the divine heavenly bull sect. Hence, they all had their own cave abodes. After a while, Mo Qingyun arrived in front of a cave abode following the guidance of his identity token. Looking at the cave abode, Tai Balong revealed a brilliant smile and patted Mo Qingyun's shoulder. "Qingyun, it seems that Palace Master Hua has a good impression of you. He actually arranged a top-grade profound cave abode for you. In the divine heavenly bull sect, the cave abodes were divided into 4 grades. They were heaven, earth, profound, and yellow. True disciples could enjoy heaven cave abode, core disciples could enjoy earth cave abode, and inner sect disciples could enjoy profound cave abode. As for yellow cave abode, it was a reward for outstanding outer sect disciples." Mo Qingyun nodded with a faint smile when he heard Tai Balong's words. He didn't show much emotion. Although this cave abode was surrounded by spiritual energy, it was a good place to cultivate. But to Mo Qingyun, it wasn't very useful. It couldn't increase his cultivation speed. After briefly looking around the cave abode, Mo Qingyun walked in and observed the interior. The cave abode was very spacious and the layout was very reasonable. The living room, bedroom, and cultivation room were all used. "Since I've settled you down, I should go report." After settling Mo Qingyun, Tai Balong didn't want to stay any longer. He got up and walked out of the cave abode. Seeing this, Mo Qingyun immediately got up and sent Tai Balong off. After sending Tai Balong off, Mo Qingyun returned to the cave abode and prepared to continue comprehending the law of space. For him, the most effective way to improve was to successfully comprehend the law of space. Just as Mo Qingyun was preparing to cultivate, 3 people slowly walked towards his cave abode. "Brother Tang Ying, this cave abode is really good. It's most suitable for you to live in." Elder Jiangmu is really considerate. He actually arranged this cave abode for Brother Tang Ying. Although this cave abode is profound cave abode, it's not much different from an ordinary earth cave abode. A few excited voices came from outside the cave abode and attracted Mo Qingyun's attention. After a while, Mo Qingyun released his soul power and sensed the situation outside the cave abode. It's the three of them, seeing Tang Ying and the other two slowly approaching. Mo Qingyun frowned, and his eyes flashed with surprise. They didn't expect to meet the three of them again after separating from them. Looking at them, it seemed that they were also here for this cave abode. It was indeed a small world. It's that kid. Why is he in this cave abode? It seems that Elder Tai Balong also found some connections for him. Elder Jiangmu just said that we don't have to be polite to this kid. If anything happens, he'll take responsibility. If that's the case, let's kick this kid out and seize this cave abode. The three of them walked into the cave abode. Seeing Mo Qingyun in the cave abode, they revealed a smirk. Looking at the three of them, Mo Qingyun's eyes turned cold and his body emitted a cold aura. It seemed that if he didn't teach them a lesson, they wouldn't know how to restrain themselves. At this moment, just as Mo Qingyun was about to take action, Tai Balong, who had just left, returned. What are you doing here? Looking at Tang Ying and the other two in the cave, Tai Balong's face turned cold as he questioned them in a cold voice. Hearing Tai Balong's reprimand, the three of them trembled in fear like mice seeing a cat. Chapter 26:14. Senior, is there anything else you need from me? Seeing Tai Balong return, Mo Qingyun's curiosity was piqued, and he immediately asked him. Tai Balong waved his hand at Mo Qingyun's question and said, "Just now I saw those brats sneaking over here. I was worried, so I came over to take a look." Oh, Mo Qingyun nodded in understanding. After explaining the purpose of his visit, Tai Balong did not stop talking. He continued, "I have calculated the time. There are still 10 days before the core disciple assessment. You should make some preparations." Only 10 days? Mo Qingyun was surprised. This news came as a surprise to him. However, he was also happy to see that the closer the assessment was, the faster he could raise his status. Only by raising his status would he be able to gather information more easily. Tai Balong gave a simple explanation and then said with a regretful expression, "If this old man had not accepted a true disciple, I would have accepted you as a true disciple, and you would have been able to go to the heaven-rank cave abode. Senior, you don't have to worry about it. Cultivation still depends on oneself. The cave abode has nothing to do with cultivation." Mo Qingyun was very clear about the meaning of Tai Balong's words and comforted him with a faint smile. Tai Balong nodded in agreement after hearing Mo Qingyun's words. His expression also turned for the better. Next, Tai Balong left the cave, once more after he was done with his task. After Tai Balong left, Mo Qingyun summoned Luo Jian and asked him to guard the cave abode for him. This was to prevent Tang Ying and the other two from causing trouble in his cave abode when he was cultivating. It's a pity that Ren Jun is not here. Otherwise, I would have just set up a formation. Thinking about Ren Jun's attainments and formations, Mo Qingyun could not help but sigh in thought. It seems that if there is a chance in the future, I will need to recruit a few advanced Saint Array masters. They will be very useful at crucial times. Just as Mo Qingyun was sighing inwardly, Luo Jianshu appeared beside him and said, "I'm going to cultivate in seclusion for a while. Guard the cave for me and don't let anyone disturb my cultivation." Yes, Luo Jian accepted the order. After instructing Luo Jian, Mo Qingyun immersed himself in cultivation and continued to comprehend the laws of space. Although comprehending the laws of space was very difficult, Mo Qingyun did not want to give up so easily. In his opinion, the more difficult it was to comprehend, the more powerful the laws of space would be. If he could successfully comprehend the law of space, it would be worth it no matter how much time he spent. As Mo Qingyun concentrated on his cultivation, time passed very quickly. In the blink of an eye, 10 days had passed. In these 10 days, Tang Ying and the rest came again, but they were scared away by Luo Jian's aura. Tang Ying and the others thought that Tai Balong was still inside the cave, guarding Mo Qingyun as he cultivated. Master, 10 days are up. Thinking of Mo Qingyun's warning, Luo Jian woke up Mo Qingyun after 10 days had passed. Hearing Luo Jian's call, Mo Qingyun slowly opened his eyes. His face showed some disappointment as he said, "Looks like it's not possible to successfully comprehend the laws of space in a short time." In these 10 days of continuous comprehension, he still gained nothing and wasted time. However, Mo Qingyun was not discouraged. Many people spent hundreds of thousands of years to comprehend the laws of space. Compared to those people, the amount of time he spent was nothing at all. It was precisely because the laws of space were difficult to comprehend that, if Mo Qingyun could successfully comprehend it, he could use it as a trump card. Comprehending the laws of space can't be rushed. Let's go take the core disciple assessment first. Mo Qingyun abandoned the distracting thoughts in his mind. He lifted his foot and walked out of the cave, putting Luo Jian into the Soul Palace. Just as Mo Qingyun walked out of the cave, Tai Balong rushed over to receive him to take the core disciple assessment. "Let's go." Seeing Mo Qingyun walk out of the cave, Tai Balong called out and turned to lead the way. Mo Qingyun responded and followed behind Tai Balong, heading towards the peak of the giant Bull Mountain range. After a while, under Tai Balong's lead, Mo Qingyun arrived at a huge square. At this moment, there were many people gathered in the square. There were sect elders and sect disciples. Looking at the current situation, the disciples in the square were all participating in the core disciple assessment. Among these disciples, there were those who had just entered the heavenly Bull Divine sect and those who had been in the sect for a while. If one observed carefully, one could see that these disciples had formed two distinct factions. One faction was for those who had just entered the sect, while the other faction was for those who had been in the sect for a while. From the looks of it, their relationship wasn't harmonious at all. It was exactly as the saying goes, where there are benefits, there will be conflicts. Mo Qingyun swept his gaze across the crowd and saw Tang Ying and the other two surrounded by a group of disciples. Obviously, Tang Ying and the other two had a high status among the new disciples. They had the posture of a leader. Sensing Mo Qingyun's gaze, Tang Ying and the other two turned their heads and sneered. Obviously, they were scheming against Mo Qingyun. Mo Qingyun did not care about Tang Ying and the other two's performance. With the abilities of these three people, they were not a threat to him. Even if Mo Qingyun stood still and allowed them to attack him, they would not be able to break through his protective sword aura. To put it bluntly, Mo Qingyun and the inner disciples of the Heavenly Bull Mountain sect were not on the same level. Qingyun, go over there and meet them. After bringing Mo Qingyun to the square, Tai Balong pointed at the crowd and asked Mo Qingyun to meet up with them. Hearing Tai Balong's instructions, Mo Qingyun nodded his head and walked to the center of the square. Seeing Mo Qingyun come to the center of the square, the new disciples immediately maintained a distance from him. Seeing this scene, Mo Qingyun frowned and could not help but look at Tang Ying and the other two. If he was not wrong, the reason for this scene should be the three of them playing tricks. "Kid, wait until we enter the test ground. See how we'll deal with you." Seeing Mo Qingyun looking at him, Tang Ying grinned and a cold look flashed across his eyes. Hearing Tang Ying's harsh words, Mo Qingyun only smiled faintly and did not show any fear. Then, Mo Qingyun retracted his gaze and no longer bothered with Tang Ying and the other two. After entering the test ground, if these three guys did not know what was good for them, then they could not blame him. Your sister. Seeing Mo Qingyun's reaction, Tang Ying's face immediately darkened and a strong sense of anger rose in him. In his opinion, Mo Qingyun's behavior was clearly a form of mockery towards him. As the crowd moved away from Mo Qingyun, he immediately stood out and became the center of attention. Who is that kid? He seems to be a new disciple who has been ignored and pushed aside. This kid is really unlucky. He just entered the sect and was pushed aside. I'm sure he's feeling bad. Looking at the situation, he seems to have offended Tang Ying. This caused everyone to push him aside. It's better if they fight among themselves. We can watch a good show. After understanding Mo Qingyun's situation, the senior disciples were all gloating. Mo Qingyun did not care about the reactions of the surrounding disciples. With no one paying attention to him, he became quieter and it was easier for him to do things. In a short while, all the participants of the core disciple test arrived at the center of the square. At the moment, an old man in a cowhide golden robe walked to a high platform and said, "The core disciple test this time is a little different from the past. The test ground will be set on the galactic battlefield." As soon as the old man said this, there was an uproar all around. Everyone was shocked. This situation frightened them quite a bit, and they felt that it was completely unexpected. The galactic battlefield was a dangerous place. Even peak celestial domain grades had a chance of dying there. Letting them enter the galactic battlefield for the test was simply a narrow escape. I didn't expect that the test ground this time would actually be on the galactic battlefield. If I had known, I wouldn't have come. When the time comes, I will find a safe place and slowly muddle along until the end of the test. If I can't get a spot as a core disciple, I will just participate in the next test. It would be a loss if I lost my life. As they thought about the dangers of the galactic battlefield, some disciples began to whisper and express their thoughts. When Tang Ying found out about the test ground, he immediately glanced at Mo Qingyun. His gaze turned even colder as he said, "The galactic battlefield is fraught with danger. It is normal for 1 or 2 people to die. It seems like your luck is very bad." Clearly, Tang Ying had a slight killing intent towards Mo Qingyun. Tang Ying muttered to himself before retracting his gaze and standing in the middle of the crowd with an arrogant expression. Compared to the others, Mo Qingyun's expression was calm. There was not much fluctuation in his emotions. As long as he did not encounter a universe-grade powerhouse, he would have no problem protecting himself. "Everyone quiet down," the old man in the cowhide robe shouted when he saw the crowd whispering to each other. Then, he added, "Although the test ground this time is very dangerous, the rewards are also very generous. The top 10 disciples will be given a heaven-grade cave abode to cultivate in. Furthermore, the disciple who comes in first will be given a 100-million-year-old flame crystal by the sect. 100-million-year-old flame crystal." Mo Qingyun's eyes lit up when he heard the old man's words. There was a look of anticipation on his face. He had originally been thinking about how to obtain the 100-million-year-old flame crystal from the heavenly bull divine sect. He had not expected that the reward for this core disciple test would actually be a 100-million-year-old flame crystal. It seems like I have to treat this core disciple test seriously. Mo Qingyun had not taken this core disciple test seriously at first. However, things were different now. If he obtained the 100-million-year-old flame crystal, he would be able to start cultivating the second level of the 9-directional godly bull sword technique. While Mo Qingyun was pondering this, the old man in the cowhide robe instructed again. Then he said to an old man beside him, "In that case, open the galactic teleportation gate and send them to the galactic battlefield." "All right." The few old men nodded in agreement. Then, a terrifying wave of saint energy blasted into the gate from their palms. Under the infusion of the saint power, a dim stone door suddenly bloomed with a dazzling light. Chapter 26:15. Following behind these disciples, Mo Qingyun also flew into the teleportation gate. After entering the portal, Mo Qingyun's vision blurred and he arrived at a pitch-black space. "Follow me," an old man in armor instructed Mo Qingyun and the others as they arrived in the void. The old man's aura was very strong. He had already reached the peak celestial domain grade, so he must be the elder of the heavenly bull divine sect. Upon hearing the old man's command, the disciples hurriedly followed him and arrived at a campsite. This campsite wasn't big. There were only a few dozen tents, and there were soldiers standing guard all around. Every soldier was like a statue standing firmly on the spot, seemingly unaffected by the outside world. Commander Zhang Ji, the merit badges have been prepared. Upon seeing the old man return to the campsite, a middle-aged man dressed like a scholar reported to the old man. Upon hearing the middle-aged scholar's report, the old man nodded and gestured to Mo Qingyun and the others. Gather in that tent. I will distribute the merit badges to you later. Yes. Hearing the old man's words, the disciples immediately responded. Then, everyone entered the tent and started to collect their merit badges. In a short while, Mo Qingyun and the others each had a merit badge in their hands. Since the merit badges have been distributed, I will now talk about their functions. The old man stood at the top of the tent with his hands behind his back. With a dignified posture, he said, "The merit cards in your hands can absorb the blood essence of the cultivators in the Blood-Soul Galaxy. The more blood essence you absorb, the more merit you will obtain." I believe I don't need to say more about the use of merit badges. This is related to the results of your assessment. Of course, if you have enough merit badges, you can also exchange them for cultivation resources at the campsite. Then, the old man explained some of the details to everyone. After listening to the old man's explanation, Mo Qingyun had a clear understanding of how merit badges could be obtained. There were roughly 3 ways to obtain merit badges. They were spying on the military, rescuing, and killing enemies. Spying on the military and rescuing enemies required one to accept a battlefield mission and complete the mission handover. Killing enemies was easier. He could just kill them and let the merit card absorb their blood. The more enemies he killed, the stronger the enemies he killed, the more battle merits he would gain. I've already told you about some of the rules of the camp. I hope you'll remember them. After explaining the rules of the camp to everyone, the old man's expression turned solemn. He exuded a chilling aura as he said, "If anyone dares to break the rules, don't blame me for being impolite when the time comes. I will punish you according to military law." Commander, don't worry. We will definitely remember this. Hearing the old man's warning, everyone immediately responded. Seeing everyone's reaction, the old man nodded in satisfaction and said, "I've just counted. There are a total of 91 people participating in the assessment this time. Now, I'll divide you into 9 groups and choose a group leader to lead each group. Only the captain can accept the battlefield mission. You must remember this clearly." Hearing the old man's words, some people's expressions immediately became excited. Not long after, under the old man's instructions, everyone was divided into 9 groups. What surprised Mo Qingyun was that one of Tang Ying's group was in the same group as him. "Kid, your luck is really bad. You're actually in the same group as me." Seeing Mo Qingyun in the same group as him, that person sneered as if he was sure that Mo Qingyun was in the same group as him. Mo Qingyun did not care about this person's behavior at all. He stood there with an indifferent expression. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, it was obvious that he was ignoring the other party and treating him like air. Seeing Mo Qingyun's attitude, that person's face immediately darkened. He gritted his teeth and clenched his fists. Obviously, his hatred for Mo Qingyun had increased. However, he did not dare to explode because of the situation. Since the groups are divided, I'll now appoint the group leaders. After dividing everyone into 9 groups, the old man's gaze swept across everyone and appointed the group leaders of each group. The first group, Leader Li Shi. The second group, Leader Zhang San. The 7th group, Leader Tang Ying. The 8th group, Leader Wang Yuan. The 9th group, Leader Pan Sheng. Not long after, the appointment of the 9 group leaders was completed. What surprised Mo Qingyun was that Tang Ying and the other 2 had all become the leaders. They were the leaders of the 7th, 8th, and 9th groups, respectively. "Kid, your luck is really bad. You actually made me the group leader." Looking at Mo Qingyun in front of him, Pan Sheng sneered. He looked like a villain who had gotten his way. Mo Qingyun was indifferent to his behavior. He said, "What's so good about being a group leader? You accepted the mission for everyone and led everyone to complete the mission. Don't you still have to split the merit equally?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Pan Sheng's face turned ugly. It was as if he had been hit where it hurt. letting him lead Mo Qingyun to complete the mission together and then split the merit equally with Mo Qingyun. He was definitely not willing to do such a thing. He did not want to benefit Mo Qingyun. You, hearing Mo Qingyun's words, Pan Cheng's face immediately darkened. He was so angry that he trembled. In his opinion, Mo Qingyun had directly disobeyed his orders in front of so many people. This was clearly a slap to his face and a challenge to his authority. No, I have to think of a way to properly punish Mo Qingyun. The more Pan Cheng thought about it, the angrier he became. After some thought, he came up with a plan. Then, Pan Cheng bowed to Zhang Ji and made a pleading gesture. He said, "Leader, Mo Qingyun is arrogant and won't accept any restrictions. If we are in the same group as him, he will definitely bring danger to everyone. Please let it be in a group alone." Hearing Pan Cheng's words, Tang Ying and the others all agreed, expressing their dissatisfaction with Mo Qingyun. Seeing Tang Ying and the others' actions, Zhang Ji's face darkened. He looked at Mo Qingyun unhappily. In his opinion, since so many people were ostracizing Mo Qingyun would definitely be a thorn in their side. Mo Qingyun, what do you think? In order to be fair, Zhang Ji still asked Mo Qingyun to see what he thought. If Mo Qingyun was unwilling, he couldn't force Mo Qingyun. Upon hearing Zhang Ji's question, Mo Qingyun scanned the crowd and said, "It's fine to be in a group alone. Working with these ants is equivalent to bringing along a bunch of burdens. It will affect my battle results." Upon seeing Mo Qingyun's attitude, the disciples were immediately displeased and started to scold him. "Mo Qingyun, what did you say? Who are you calling a burden? Tell me clearly, who is the ant here? A mere peak galaxy grade dares to spout such arrogant words. I want to challenge you." In an instant, words of dissatisfaction and anger came out of the mouths of the new disciples. Upon seeing the disciples' behavior, Zhang Ji's face turned cold as he shouted, "All of you, quiet down. This matter is decided. Mo Qingyun will be in a group alone. No one else is allowed to object. Otherwise, you will be disqualified." As soon as Zhang Ji said this, he looked at Mo Qingyun. Clearly, he didn't like Mo Qingyun. After Zhang Ji's reprimand, everyone shut their mouths and didn't dare voice their dissatisfaction. Upon seeing that he was in a group alone, Mo Qingyun's lips curled into a faint smile. He glanced at Tang Ying and the other two and said, "Thank you, the three of you. I'm also a group leader now." After saying this, Mo Qingyun turned around and left, leaving behind a dumbfounded crowd. He had been ostracized by everyone, yet he still had the audacity to say that he was a group leader. Mo Qingyun's skin was really thick. F***CK, this guy's skin is probably thicker than the city walls. No wonder he was ostracized by the new disciples. He is too shameless. Such a thorn in the new disciples is enough to give Tang Ying and the rest a headache. Upon seeing Mo Qingyun's behavior, the older disciples were shocked and gloating at his misfortune. Mo Qingyun didn't care about everyone's reaction at all. He directly went to receive the battlefield mission. In the mission tent, Mo Qingyun walked into the tent. He scanned the inside and walked in front of a middle-aged man. He said, "I want to receive a battlefield mission. What kind of mission can I receive?" Hearing Mo Qingyun's question, the middle-aged man glanced at him and took out a golden jade scroll. He said, "The battlefield missions are all in here. Take your time to choose. Don't blame me for not reminding you. Remember to act according to your ability." "Thank you." Mo Qingyun nodded. He looked at the golden jade scroll and chose the battlefield mission. Low-grade D mission. Guard the camp for 3 days, 10 battle merits. Low-grade D mission. Clean up the battlefield for a month, 100 battle merits. Low-grade C mission. Spy on the sorrowful Demon Star Ocean, 500 battle merits. Low-grade A mission. Exterminate the Sky Soul Mountain's nest in the Blood Soul Galaxy, 50,000 battle merits. Low-grade A mission. Slay the Blood Soul Galaxy's bloody killing moon demon, 100,000 battle merits. As Mo Qingyun scanned the scroll, The mission information was reflected in his eyes one by one. There are too many people in the Sky Soul Mountain's nest. The commotion caused by killing them would be too great. This mission isn't suitable for me at the moment. Mo Qingyun thought for a moment and quickly eliminated this mission. He started to look at the other missions. This mission to assassinate the bloody killing moon demon is worth a try. Although a peak celestial domain grade isn't weak, it isn't difficult for me. Plus, the battle merits aren't small. Mo Qingyun thought for a moment and made a decision. He told the middle-aged man before him, "No one has completed the mission to slay the bloody, killing moon demon, right? If no one has completed it, I will accept this mission." "You? Accept the mission to slay the bloody, killing moon demon?" The middle-aged man's eyes widened when he heard Mo Qingyun's words. He had been frightened by Mo Qingyun's words. What kind of joke was this? Mo Qingyun was only a peak galaxy-grade martialist. Slaying a peak celestial domain-grade martialist? He's obviously courting death. That's right. Mo Qingyun ignored the middle-aged man's shock and nodded solemnly. Although the middle-aged man was a little surprised by Mo Qingyun's resolute attitude, he didn't try to persuade him otherwise. "Give me your battle merit card, and I will help you imprint the mission information on it." Hearing the other party's request, Mo Qingyun took out his battle merit token and passed it over. Chapter 26:16. As soon as Mo Qingyun left the mission tent, the news that he had accepted an A-grade mission spread. What was even more shocking was that the A-grade mission Mo Qingyun had comprehended wasn't an ordinary one. Is that kid crazy? He's just a galaxy grade. Yet he actually dares to accept an A-grade mission. I've heard that a quasi-universe grade powerhouse once chased after the bloody killing moon demon, yet he still managed to escape unscathed. It seems like that kid has a death wish by chasing after the bloody killing moon demon. Some people who heard the news believe that Mo Qingyun had a death wish. In their opinion, given Mo Qingyun's cultivation base, it was simply impossible for him to complete this mission. As everyone kept spreading the news reached Tang Ying and the others, who were also scared out of their wits. What? Mo Qingyun accepted an A-grade mission? Did this guy suffer some kind of shock? Pan Sheng was so shocked that he couldn't believe that the news about Mo Qingyun was true. Compared to Pan Sheng's shock, Tang Ying and the other two had similar shocked expressions on their faces. The bloody killing moon demon's cultivation base had reached the peak celestial domain grade and was comparable to an elder of the Heavenly Bull sect. Against such a terrifying existence, no matter how many disciples they sent, it would be useless. They would just be sending themselves to their deaths. Even if some elders went alone, their chances of success would be very low. This kid has a death wish. That will save us some trouble. As he thought about Mo Qingyun's fate, Tang Ying sneered and rejoiced in his misfortune. In his opinion, it would be best if Mo Qingyun died at the hands of the bloody killing moon demon. This would save them a lot of trouble. All right, let's go and accept the mission and earn some merit points. Not wanting to think about Mo Qingyun, Tang Ying headed to the mission tent and prepared to start earning battle merits. While everyone was talking about Mo Qingyun's matter enthusiastically in one of the tents in the campsite. What? Mo Qingyun accepted an A-grade mission? And it's a mission to kill the bloody killing moon demon? Hearing the report from his subordinates, Zhang Ji, who was sitting at the top of the tent, was shocked. Even if he were to go alone against the blood-kill lunar demon, he would still have a 30% to 70% chance of winning. More importantly, his chances of winning were 3%, while the blood-kill lunar demon's chances of winning were 7%. Even if he personally went, he only had a 30% chance of winning, let alone Mo Qingyun. Nonsense. This is simply nonsense. Thinking of his sex instructions, Zhang Ji's face immediately turned ashen with anger, producing a strong anger. Before the disciples came for the assessment, he had received instructions from the sect to ensure the safety of the disciples. Who would have thought that Mo Qingyun would cause trouble when these disciples had just arrived at the camp? This really gave him a headache. Where is Mo Qingyun? Tell him to come see me immediately. The more Zhang Ji thought about it, the angrier he got, and the uglier his face became. He ordered the person who reported the news. Hearing Zhang Ji's order, the person who reported the news stiffened and said with a troubled expression, reporting to the commander, Mo Qingyun received the mission and directly left the camp. I'm afraid we can't find him now. What nonsense! Hearing that Mo Qingyun had left the camp, Zhang Ji's anger grew. He slammed the table and said, This Mo Qingyun is really audacious. When I capture him, I will definitely punish him severely. At this moment, Zhang Ji's impression of Mo Qingyun suddenly became extremely bad. Originally, he had been a little puzzled when everyone ostracized Mo Qingyun, but now he completely understood. This brat called Mo Qingyun was simply a sh*t stirrer. You can leave first. Zhang Ji waved his hand, feeling a sense of helplessness, as he had a headache over Mo Qingyun's matter. After the person who reported the news left, Zhang Ji pondered for a moment, then got up and walked out of the camp. He said, With this brat's speed, he shouldn't be too far away. I should be able to catch up with him. Next, Zhang Ji gave some instructions to the deputy general and then left the camp. Outside the camp, after Mo Qingyun received the mission, he immediately set off for the Blood Moon continent. The Blood Moon continent was not particularly far away, so Mo Qingyun did not summon Luo Jian and personally control the Blood Cloud airship. With Mo Qingyun's speed, he only used half a day to reach the Blood Moon continent. The Blood Moon continent was an abandoned continent. The spirit chi on it was very dry, and a faint layer of blood mist pervaded it. From this, it could be seen that this was the lair of the bloody, killing moon devil. After some observation, Mo Qingyun discovered that the Blood Moon continent was only 1% of a normal continent. Rather than calling a continent, it was better to call a fragment of a continent. The density of the blood mist here is higher. I should hurry in this direction. Mo Qingyun released his soul force and sensed the surroundings. He determined a direction. Next, Mo Qingyun controlled the blood cloud airship and quickly rushed into the depths of the blood mist. Several hours later, under Mo Qingyun's speedy travel, he arrived in front of a blood mountain and smelled a thick stench of blood. What a rich blood chi! This must be the lair of the bloody, killing moon devil. Looking at the huge blood mountain in front of him, Mo Qingyun frowned and silently raised his vigilance. The bloody killing moon devil was not weak, so he had to be careful. After a simple observation of the surroundings, Mo Qingyun's footsteps did not stop, and he began to go deeper into the blood mountain. As Mo Qingyun went deeper into the blood mountain, a thought flashed in his mind. Such a rich blood chi. If I let Luo Jian refine it, his cultivation should be able to advance. Although Mo Qingyun thought this, he did not summon Luo Jian and continued to go deeper into the blood mountain. Before long, as Mo Qingyun searched, a huge blood-red cave appeared in his perception. After discovering the existence of the blood-red cave, Mo Qingyun's figure flashed, and he quickly arrived at the entrance of the cave. There are no fluctuations of array power. Standing at the entrance of the cave, Mo Qingyun sensed for a while and entered the cave with ease. As soon as Mo Qingyun entered the cave, huge blood-red bats flew toward him. The strength of these blood-red bats had reached the galaxy grade, so their strength should not be underestimated. Of course, they did not pose the slightest threat to Mo Qingyun. Back in the Underworld Sacred City, the strength of the Underworld Sacred Corpse was much stronger than these blood-red bats. Sword Intent, rise. Mo Qingyun raised his right hand and summoned the Sword Intent, controlling it to kill the blood-red bats. Faced with the overbearing bombardment of the Sword Intent, the blood-red bats near Mo Qingyun were slaughtered in the blink of an eye. After slaughtering the blood-red bats, Mo Qingyun did not stop and continued to walk into the cave. As he went deeper into the cave, the blood chi in the surroundings also became richer. Chapter 26:17. It seems like the Bloody Moon Devil's cultivation method is very similar to Luo Jian's. As he went deeper into the cave, Emo Qingyun sensed the blood qi all around him and immediately came to a conclusion. Then, Emo Qingyun thought to himself, if that's the case, moving this blood mountain to the Fortune continent and letting Luo Jian cultivate there shouldn't be a bad idea. As Emo Qingyun was pondering this, he arrived at the bottom of the cave and saw a charming young man. If he wasn't mistaken, this was the Bloody Moon Devil. Emo Qingyun's approach attracted the Bloody Moon Devil's attention and woke him up from his cultivation. The Bloodkill Moon Demon withdrew from his cultivation and opened his eyes. A beautiful blood-red light flashed within them. A galaxy-grade kid actually managed to barge in here. Interesting. The Bloody Moon Devil was surprised when he saw Emo Qingyun before him. Then, he sized up Emo Qingyun with interest. Clearly, Emo Qingyun's arrival had surprised him. In his opinion, given Emo Qingyun's cultivation base, he shouldn't have been able to reach him. After sizing up Emo Qingyun, a sinister smile appeared on the Bloody Moon Devil's face. My Bloody Moon Devil zombies just happened to be lacking a zombie commander. I was just thinking about looking for a zombie body when one came knocking on my door. While the Bloody Moon Devil was sizing up Emo Qingyun was also sizing up his surroundings and saw many blood-colored zombies. These zombies were very strong. Every single one of them was at the Celestial Domain grade, and the strongest ones were at the peak Celestial Domain grade. A total of 73 zombies. Emo Qingyun's eyes flashed with shock when he saw the number of corpses. He understood a little more. He finally understood why quasi-universe-grade powerhouses couldn't do anything to the Bloody Moon Devil. With this group of Bloody Moon Devil zombies, the Bloody Moon Devil's combat strength would increase exponentially. Kid, are you going to surrender yourself? Or do you want me to do it myself? Sizing up Emo Qingyun, the Bloodkill Moon Fiend sneered, like a predator sizing up its prey. Hearing the Bloody Moon Demon's words, Emo Qingyun shook his head with a faint smile and said, I don't choose that either. I choose to kill you and go back to exchange for battle merits. Emo Qingyun's words immediately enraged the Bloodkill Moon Demon. His face turned icy cold. What an arrogant brat. Wait until I refine you into a Blood Moon demonic zombie. Let's see if you can still say those words then. As the Bloody Moon Demon roared, he waved his arm and ordered the 5 demonic Blood Moon zombies. Upon receiving the Bloodkill Moon Devil's order, the 5 Blood Moon demonic zombies roared and pounced towards Emo Qingyun. In just a short moment, Emo Qingyun's path was blocked, and he was surrounded by the Blood Moon demonic zombies. Just a few zombies can't do anything to me. Chapter 26:19. After a while, Tang Ying and the others handed in their mission and left the mission tent. After coming out of the mission tent, Tang Ying and the others couldn't help but talk about Emo Qingyun. Do you guys think that Emo Qingyun took the mission to kill the Bloodkill Lunar Demon and found an excuse to hide? Pan Chung sneered when he came out of the mission tent, showing his disdain for Emo Qingyun. Hearing Pan Cheng's words, Wang Yuan sneered and said, Is there even a need to ask? He must have found a place to hide. Is he really going to kill the Bloodkill Lunar Demon? Wang Yuan's words immediately caused the others to laugh. They all felt disdain for Emo Qingyun. At this moment, while everyone was talking and laughing, a flying ship approached at an extremely fast speed. Seeing these flying ships approaching, Tang Ying and the others were shocked and couldn't help but feel respect. In their opinion, to be able to brazenly drive a flying ship to the camp, the person who came was definitely not simple. However, before Tang Ying and the others could sigh, their expressions froze and they all felt uncomfortable in their hearts. The person who controlled the flying ship turned out to be the Emo Qingyun that they had mocked. More importantly, the moment they saw the flying ship, they actually felt respect for Imo Qingyun. When everyone thought of this, they immediately felt uncomfortable in their hearts, as if they had swallowed a fly. Imo Qingyun ignored everyone's reaction and directly walked out of the flying ship. After coming out of the blood cloud flying ship, Imo Qingyun raised his hand and put away the blood cloud flying ship. Imo Qingyun's footsteps didn't stop. He directly walked into the camp and rushed towards the mission tent. Seeing Imo Qingyun approach, Tang Ying and the others sneered and immediately went to greet Imo Qingyun. "Oh, who is this? The expert who took the A-grade mission?" When Tang Ying arrived in front of Imo Qingyun, he had a sinister smile on his face as he mocked Imo Qingyun. Hearing Tang Ying's words, Wang Yuan immediately added, seeing him control the flying ship and return in triumph. He should have completed the A-grade mission and is preparing to hand in the mission to receive the reward. You can even complete an A-grade mission by yourself. No wonder you want to leave us behind. You're really amazing. Pan Cheng didn't want to be outdone. He started to mock Imo Qingyun, as if he was waiting for Imo Qingyun to make a fool of himself. Regarding the performance of Tang Ying and the rest, Imo Qingyun directly ignored them, completely treating them as air. Seeing Imo Qingyun's actions, Tang Ying and the others were displeased. They were furious. Immediately after, Tang Ying stepped forward and blocked Imo Qingyun's path. He said, "Io, our great expert, don't be in such a hurry to leave. Quickly share with us, how's your A-grade mission going?" Zhang Ji ignored Imo Qingyun and continued to deal with other matters. After leaving the camp, Imo Qingyun rushed towards the nebula battlefield without stopping. When Imo Qingyun arrived, he saw many disciples moving about at the edge of the battlefield. The disciples who had rushed to the battlefield to fight were very confident in their own strength. As a result, many of the Blood Soul Galaxy's soldiers had died under his blade. The commanders of the Blood Soul Galaxy chose to ignore the small quarrels of these disciples. When Imo Qingyun arrived at the nebula battlefield, he swept his eyes over the battlefield and analyzed it. After some observation, Imo Qingyun discovered that the Heavenly Bull Divine sect was still at a disadvantage. Of course, this wasn't what Imo Qingyun cared about. The battle situation had nothing to do with him. What he cared about now was whether there were powerhouses in the Blood Soul Galaxy's camp that had comprehended the space laws. If there were such powerhouses, then it would be very difficult for him to carry out his mission. After some observation, Imo Qingyun obtained an answer. The opposing camp didn't have any powerhouses that had comprehended the space laws. Chapter 26-21. As Imo Qingyun approached, the people from the divine Heavenly Bull sect immediately discovered his presence. When they saw Imo Qingyun's clothes, they realized his identity and didn't pay too much attention to him. They knew that this was yet another inner sect disciple participating in the core disciple assessment. Be careful. Don't get close to the battlefield. Although he knew Imo Qingyun's identity, Deputy Commander Huang, who was in charge of the battle, still reminded Imo Qingyun. No matter what, Imo Qingyun was a disciple participating in the assessment, so it was necessary to warn him. Imo Qingyun acknowledged Deputy Commander Huang's warning and approached the battlefield. As Imo Qingyun approached the battlefield, the disciples who were in the middle of killing each other noticed his arrival. Imo Qingyun is here? Didn't he go to hunt the Bloody Moon Devils? Are you stupid? How could Imo Qingyun possibly kill the Bloody Moon Devils given his cultivation base? If my guess is right, he must have failed his mission and came to hunt the enemy troops obediently. The disciples were all talking at once. However, if one observed carefully, they would realize that they were all looking at Luo Yunyang with disdain. Imo Qingyun didn't care about the reactions of these disciples. He just observed the battle from a close distance. At the same time, Mo Qingyun was also searching for the captains and thinking about how to hunt them down. Retreat quickly. Xi Ming is coming for us again. This fellow clearly has the combat strength of a general, yet he is still willing to be a captain. It's not like you don't know how despicable the Blood Soul Galaxy is. As Mo Qingyun observed the battlefield, a group of people grumbled in his ears. Then, Mo Qingyun looked at Xi Ming and set him as his first target. A mid-stage, celestial domain grade isn't hard to deal with. After discovering Xi Ming's cultivation base, Mo Qingyun smiled faintly and quickly flew over to Xi Ming. Seeing Mo Qingyun's actions, the disciples participating in the test all revealed shocked expressions. Mo Qingyun, he ran in the battlefield. What is he trying to do? From the looks of it, he seems to be planning to rescue Captain Molly. With his cultivation, he wants to rescue Chief Mari? Is it even possible? The disciples were once again filled with disdain. Compared to the disdain of the disciples, Vice Commander Huang, who was standing in the distance, frowned. Noticing Vice Commander Huang's expression, the other generals beside him were displeased. One of them said, "This disciple is too willful. If we try to save him, the experts of the Blood Soul Galaxy will definitely attack us," another person added. But just as they finished speaking, they heard Vice Commander Huang say in surprise, "Hey, that's a Blood Moon demonic zombie. How can that disciple be a Blood Moon demonic zombie? What is his relationship with the Bloodkill Moon demon?"